up, everybody? Welcome to Directly to You. This is the 110th episode. I was going to say edition for some reason, which would also be accurate. You know what else is accurate with Fanatixfour? Who is that?
True.
It's me, AJ. Also, Parker, him on the other side. I don't know if it's left or right in the recording. Who knows, dude?
I pointed it as if AJ was the audience in that case. Hey guys, you're AJ. What's up? Hope you're enjoying it.
I mean, maybe there's somebody in the audience named AJ. You never know.
True.
Maybe I'm listening.
I was gonna say maybe if you're listening back for.
Who knows? Hi, me.
I did the first couple episodes that I was on. I listened back afterwards, and I was like, I don't want to spend 2 hours of my life every week listening back. I don't really need to.
Yeah, listening to you again.
I already lived it. So.
Yeah, and it's like that makes more sense for you because at one point it was part of your routine to listen to it.
Yes, right,
but
exactly.
I've literally never listened to it except for when I'm not on it, which happened 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, something like that.
Twice. I think literally twice.
At some point Mitch came on and filled in, and a different time Max filled in, and Dan filled in another time. So maybe 3 times.
Did they fill in?
Yeah, it was really early. It was when you were at PAX East last year.
Oh, yeah. So 3 times. There it is. Anyway, you can support this show and help us, get better. And we're talking off camera about having a coded solution instead of using Zoom, our own fanatixfour branded thing. Maybe you can help us build that by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/.
That's our highest priority of all the things.
Exactly. Yeah, to build our own Zoom, dude. And give us $4.99 every month. And what do you get for that? Like I said, you get to support a channel that you like, I assume. And also you get exclusive emotes, you get loyalty badges, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to our supporter link Discord, where sometimes people have really high dodo code airline things for turn up prices, Sometimes.
I did a couple of times this week. I checked mine. I keep forgetting. I haven't been playing a whole lot this week. I mean, we'll get into that. But a couple of times this week, I went in and checked with 10 minutes left. And I was like, I hope it's not real good, because I'll be somebody
800
take advantage of this. But but they were fine. It was 70 and 100. So nothing to worry about. Go on. Yes.
There it is. But you can also join our Discord for free 99. I don't know where the 99 comes from. I didn't make up the saying. But if you do, there's a dedicated Animal Crossing channel where you can talk about Animal Crossing and just, hang out, get your fruit, fill out that achievement, give Nook his money. But
give it to him.
Other than that, follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the Directly to You channel, ideally so we can get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can do the freaking call for questions on that channel instead, because I feel like it would be easier to get Q&A on that YouTube channel, because that's only people that watch and listen to this podcast, I'd assume, instead of everybody. But anyway, do you playing any video games?
Yeah, man, I surely am. Playing less Animal Crossing. At this point, pretty much playing it mostly. Yeah, it's true. At this point, I'm pretty much playing it a little bit to do some of my dailies, and then credits. I think credits had rolled last week on mine. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think so. But I'll sometimes even just give my Switch to Ashley so that she can check what's in my stores. Because that's most of her routine is going to an island, maybe fishing, but mostly checking stores for cool furniture or, cool clothes or stuff like that. So she comes over to mine. And so most of the time, if you see me playing, it's probably she's over on my island. I was playing a little bit earlier today, doing that very thing. And then I was given a frog costume. So I'm really.
Oh yeah. I just bought one of those yesterday.
Look at that. I don't have a frog hat or anything. No, it's just the bodysuit. But I have a wrestling hat thing that looks real janky with the frog body. So that's fun. So yeah, a little bit of Animal Crossing, some other stuff too. But have you been playing some Animal Crossing? Probably.
Yeah, I'm playing Animal Crossing. I'm cornering the market, dude. I made 4 million bells last week.
Nice.
And this week I'm poised to make 20 or something like that. I'm going to make a lot of money.
How many trips is that going to have to be?
I already made some earlier this week. but I need to like, cause I freaking filled up most of my house with just turnips. There's like 2 rooms that aren't all turnips. Because I spent 2 million bells on turnips, and so far I've doubled that. But only sold 1 room, and it wasn't even like one of my big rooms worth of turnips. And now I'm gonna try to sell the rest of them today. And like at this point, I'm gonna like, even if I don't sell at like peak prices or whatever, like if I just sell for like 130, I'm going to make a pretty decent profit because I bought so many, and I bought them at 99 bells or whatever.
Nice.
So I'm going to make good money either way. To hoard and never pay the milk ever.
What are you mostly saving the money for at this point? Like
no
infrastructure
reason.
changes?
Just to be like, dude, I got like 300 million bells, man. I'm rich, dude. To be like a billionaire in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Because at this point, so I did that once. I mean, not that much hoarding, but I bought 1 full inventory's worth and then sold it. I did that last week. And I feel like at this point, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. That did it the one time. I probably won't do it again. Unless I think Tarantula Islands are kind of my backup as far as like if I need to make, some extra money that's like, I don't know, 150,000 or something like that. But I mean, then again, you could just make that pretty easily just off fruit. So it's not a super huge deal, but it's a fun time.
I think my island, like fruit wise, it's like, I don't know, like 400,000 bells worth of fruit every 3 days or something like that.
I do want to go through and like just reorganize at this point, kind of just by default. I did the whole thing that you were talking about where I synced up everything, because one day I just didn't even log on. Another day I was like, a bunch of these have bloomed, but the rest of them will go tomorrow. I'll just wait. And then I just waited it out. So now they're all synced up, but I want to move them around to like make it more organized, because right now it's kind of garbage where everything is. So that's a thing.
I still need to do, and that's a lot of like when I do play, which I'll get to. I haven't really been doing that, but I've been, like you said, doing a lot of like dailies and stuff like that. And whenever, like yesterday, I tweeted about my new arcade cabinet, and then people were like, "Hey man, I have a
pinball machine if you want, by the way."
Yo, I don't know where to put that. I like, as far as like in the stream room, because like I only have. And I have to rearrange the cameras and the lights to make room for that. But I only have room for the 4 different arcade cabinets. And right now I only have 3 of them. So I don't know where I would put the pinball machine. We're not going to play freaking pinball in the Cute Boys room. Dude, it's a video game only room, man.
You never played Pokemon pinball? Oh, come on.
Nah, not in the video game room. Not allowed, man. Not allowed. But yeah, I haven't been playing Animal Crossing much outside of doing the daily stuff and also with that. Oh yeah, and my Nook's Cranny upgraded. So like,
nice.
That was like one day where I really didn't even play at
mine's
all.
Gonna be I guess because you time traveled 3 days total right at the beginning, or like 2 days total.
Yeah, it was like something around there. It was like 2.
So I think my should be like sometime during next week. Mine should upgrade. Pretty sure.
It's a weird set of requirements.
I think it's 30 days from the first Nook's Cranny existing.
They had to spend like a certain amount of money and also make a certain amount of money.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it was 200,000 bells back and forth in some direction. So like probably you could just have bought 200,000 or just sold 200,000 or a combination of both, which I mean, definitely you've sold more than 200,000 worth of bells, because come on. What are you doing up in here? Not playing Animal Crossing? Being poor?
Maybe you sell all your stuff at somebody else's island.
Does
that count? I don't know if that counts.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
But yeah, cool. Is the shop that much better?
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff.
Okay.
And I feel like there was stuff that was like not even like, before I wouldn't even get really cool stuff in my shop. Like I wasn't getting like laptops and freaking.
Oh yeah, I haven't got today. I've got a trash can, a clock, and 2 other bad things. And I'm like, I've got those.
Nothing cool spawned in the old Nook's Cranny for me, but now there's like multiple things where it's like, yo, where was that at when I was here before, man? What's going on?
Cool.
So there's that. I'm going to buy a white laptop I didn't have money in my. I'm probably not even gonna. It's just gonna sit in my inventory, but just because, you know, you never know when somebody wants a white laptop, and I can like send it to them because that's another thing I like doing. It's like, hey, I have this thing, and then somebody tweets me, it's like, yo, I wish I had that. I'm like, yo, I got you, man. I have so much money. It doesn't even. Don't you even worry about it, dude.
I've got a couple of things that Crunch Topher sent me, and I'm like, dude, that's so like he sent me a synthesizer that I looked afterwards and it was like 66,000 bells. And I was like, that's a lot of money. And then something else, an effects rack, I think. And I'm like, thanks, man. Duh. And I sent him something really random just because I was like, here's something. Who's to say? Because whatever, doesn't matter. So there it is. But
I finally got the electric guitar, so that's cool.
Oh, too. Nice. What color is it?
It's like orange or yellow or something like that.
Okay. Oh wait, is it like a Stratocaster or look different? Okay, I've got a red and a pink Stratocaster kind of style, and I would like to have more variety in that. I'd also like an acoustic guitar. I've got like my music rooms.
Yeah, I'll forget. Well, I still haven't even been to your island, so I can't send you things.
We'll do it. Next time I see you online, I'll just be like, yo, come on down. Yeah. What else you been playing though?
Smash Brothers a lot, and well, not necessarily more than usual, but like more quality than usual. Because usually, like, I'll play Smash Brothers just because I like playing Smash Brothers, but like it's not helping me get better because I'm only playing against random online people that probably suck anyway. And they lag and they do dumb stuff like that. So it's like I don't feel like every time, like I get off the game and I'm like, well, that happened. But now after I play, it's like I feel like I improved because I'm playing a lot with like Falcon and Logan and my other friends that play this game. And it's a grand old time. Good old fun every day. Well, every day for the past few days, we play from like 7 to like 11 or something like that.
Nice.
So we have regimen going on here. Trying to freaking win Evo 2022.
That's right. Because it's not going to happen until
because that's the next
2022.
Evo. Yeah, that's the next one.
Honestly, though, kind of. Yeah, nice. I've been playing. I beat Ori in the Blind Forest. I tweeted out about that. It was good. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It was shorter than I thought it was going to be.
You said that you showed me that Ori didn't die. So,
yep, the good guy makes it out in the end. No, it was it was a good old time. I played mostly handheld after last podcast episode, which was a lot better because, like I was saying, my Joy-Cons was just doing a weird thing, and I don't even whatever. It doesn't matter. Where they're just having a hard time like connecting well. So everything felt kind of laggy and like. So it was a lot better. I didn't 100% it, and I haven't gone back to 100% it, but I got most of the stuff as I was going. So I think I'm like 86 or 88 or something percent of all the collectibles and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a fun game, moving story. The music's really good. Good platforming and stuff. There's some super annoying sections, like not in a good way, I guess, of just like I just kept dying and I didn't love it. So and was some of them
like was it like you died and you're like, well, that was dumb, or was it like I died because I'm bad?
It was one sequence especially. I felt like I just kept dying and not for good reason. Like Ori just kept not doing what I wanted it to do. But I think that was also when I was doing it when it wasn't connecting very well. So that was, whatever. Whereas like past that, it was just like, okay, you run some, because like the boss fights are mostly platforming chase sequences as opposed to like fighting boss fights.
Yeah.
And so there were you're supposed to go through and like be able to see what you're supposed to do, but then like mess up anyway. And where you could beat it the first try, but there's probably you won't. But died a bunch, but I had a good old time doing it. So that one, and then I'm playing through Ni no Kuni now, which I'd started a while ago, and just kind of got back into. So I just got to the part where another companion joins you. So there's that. And
I think wait, is it like a voiced like character companion, or is it like another Pokemon thing?
So you get so I'd had several Pokemans, but I think total you have 3 like people that each have
Oh,
familiars.
okay, yeah, no, I didn't get that far. I had another Pokemon.
You had the monkey guy, probably.
Yeah, and then I was just like, I don't remember which one it was, but I just had him, and I was like, okay, I get it. I don't want to play my PlayStation 3 anymore.
Yeah, so up until that point, it was just me, and you can have one familiar out at a time, and then you get to a certain story point where so Esther is her name, is the character that comes along and joins you, and then she has hers out at the same time as you have yours out, and you do fighting things, and you can like sort of tell the other character. I could play as her and then tell the main dude what to do, or vice versa. And you can say like, mostly do healing things, or like attack the weakest enemy, attack strong, like tactic stuff. I have not figured out good tactics that doesn't make her just die. Like so far,
heal yourself and nobody else.
Well, so the problem is like you only have a certain amount of magic, and it comes back through like drops during a fight. So like when I was playing, when it was just me, I could like just draw out the battle and wait for some drops, like kind of run around and have them miss me for a while, and then like, oh, there's some drops that come, and then we're good. But with them, instead, she's just like all up in there trying to fight and just dying, and keeps dying, and it's really annoying. So
at least she doesn't camp, dude.
Yeah,
that's related to Smash Brothers. I was playing that yesterday. And one of Falcon's friends joined the arena, and he was playing King K. Rool. And I don't know how up on the Smash Bros scene you are, but
he's toxic.
He's a very campy character.
Yeah.
And I was playing against him with Pokemon Trainer, as I do. And I was Ivysaur, and he was like mad and like messaging Falcon. He was like, yo, he camps with Ivysaur too much. And I was like, I'm taking that as an achievement that a King K. Rool told me I camp too much. That is you know what? Gold medal for me. But anyway, continue with
Yeah. It's so it's good. I'm just going around. I just started doing some side quest stuff, which I said I wasn't going to do that much of, and I'm probably not going to do that much of, but like I need some extra money and all that. Man. And so like I'm trying to figure out. Should have known. Anybody got any Nino Kuni turnips? So
also I bought freaking, which this is like semi Nintendo related. I bought a freaking
Final Fantasy VII
remake, dude.
Have you been playing that?
Yes.
Much?
I mean,
tell me more.
It depends on your standards.
Much.
I'm like 6 hours in or something like that. So like kind of, I've been playing like 2 hours a day every other day or something like that. Cloud sucks. I hate him. And I
as a character,
yeah, or as a person, like he sucks. Like I knew literally nothing about Cloud before playing this game, other than he's a Smash Brothers character. And I forgot, but I was going to make a joke about playing the Smash Brothers spinoff because I feel like it was going to make Final Fantasy fans mad, and that's always fun. Milking engagements or farming. But I forgot to do it. Maybe I'll do it when I beat the game. I'll be like, oh, I beat the freaking Smash Brothers spinoff. That's what I'll do.
Yep.
So when I beat the game in 2021, that's what you'll see.
I mean, there's no way if you don't beat it within the next little bit, there's no way you're ever
ever playing it again. But yeah, Cloud sucks. I don't like him. I'm like to the freaking. For people that play this game, I'm at the part when you go to Midgar or whatever for the first time, and you're at like the Shinra place with Jessie, and she's like, "Hey, my parents work here.
And James, let's see around.
Oh my god, let's rob my parents." That's the thing that happens. That's where I'm at, and I'm like right before when you actually go and do the mission. That's where I stop.
Of course.
And I don't know if I made it clear, but the sole reason why I'm playing this game is because I want to make a Pokemon video.
Yep.
I feel like it's a good justification to be like, hey, they did the thing and it worked out fine for them, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's something I was thinking with Ni no Kuni as well as I was playing it, is like, this is sort of Pokemon, but kind of ARPG
maybe
turn-based as well.
Actually, you also do the video with me, and we freaking, double team it.
True.
And I don't know.
And then our evasion rises.
Yeah,
we're great.
Oh my god, we'll just like long term, add notes, and then just for that week we'll do like an extra upload or something.
That could be fun. Yeah, I'm down.
So yeah. there it is.
I'll make sure to save some replays and stuff like that. I feel so dumb.
Thing. I freaking hate my PlayStation for everything but this thing, this one thing, and that's it. The fact that I can save hour-long replays, I love it. I love
hour-long. I didn't know. I thought it was like 5 minutes or something. Hour-long is awesome.
It's like, so you can do, it's like in tiers. It's like you can do freaking 1 minute or 15 minutes or an hour, or
and
like
is it like
an hour or an hour.
Is it a retrospective hour? Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So like I'll go through and I'll save the game and it's like, oh, it's been an hour, and then I'll save the replay and then I have an hour. Because at first I was like, that's excessive. I don't even know if I want to play this game that much at a time or whatever. But then I was like playing it the first day and I was like, nah, hour makes sense. So I changed my default to an hour. And now I just have all my gameplay for forever. And it depends on when I finish playing this game. And like if I get my new computer or not. But if I edit it on this computer, it's probably going to be annoying because that's a lot of footage.
Yeah, no kidding.
But who knows?
No, but that's awesome. Because yeah, I didn't realize until you told me, like when I did the Animal Crossing video 2 weeks ago, that I could take the micro SD card out of my Switch, put it in my computer, and that it would have the replays on it that I could used. So now I'm definitely going to be using, like, saving more replays, and I'm like, that's something that I could probably put in somewhere. I mean, then again, like that's still most of the time that's not how the majority of my videos get edited. Like I use more like trailer type footage for a lot of things, but for the ones where it makes sense.
Like that's why I like doing like more review-ish videos, because in the long run they're way easier. Like I have so much footage and I literally don't have to look for anything. And like the Animal Crossing video specifically, like the last one that I did, was so easy because I scripted it like chronologically. So I knew that like it was like, okay, this is day one, and it was saved as footage in day one. So like I didn't have to search for anything.
That's nice.
It was magical. But you know, I don't know if that, I feel like that's not going to be the case with Final Fantasy. That's going to suck because there's so much footage and it's not going to be a chronological thing, because I'm not going through the game. It's just like, this is the battle system and it's cool for this reason. And I guess like some story bits and like how they handle that could be interesting for that video.
But yeah, I mean, it would be cool if the Switch could have an update to make it longer than 30 seconds, because like at this point, especially with everybody having, you know, like bigger SD cards and stuff like that, I don't think it should be too much of an issue. But it did have an update for some other things. It had update 10.0.0, which talked about many, which did some stuff, you know?
Yep.
I didn't mess around with a lot of it, but one of the things, do you want to do the bigger?
We should probably go like
the easy stuff first.
Less meaningful additions to the big thing.
Sounds good. Okay, so less meaningful additions. There's a bookmark feature in news. Everybody uses that. You're so welcome. You've been clamoring for it forever. I talked to Nintendo and I said, "Hey, Nintendo, what's..."
First thing I do when I wake up is I check the Nintendo Switch news app.
Yeah, because theirs is way more updated than really like anywhere else ever. So
yeah, man. Yeah,
that's that for you. But yeah, whatever. There's a bookmark feature in news now. There it is. Look at that. Next up, they added an option to transfer software data between the system memory and an SD card, which is pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of people saying that, like, oh man, this is so useful. I tried to use that feature and all of the stuff was already where it needed to be anyway.
Yeah.
So
I
was
think
like,
there's a couple of times that I could think of in the past that, like, I feel like when I migrated over to my new Switch, everything has been well organized since then. Like everything's pretty much just on my SD card. But there was a little while where that wasn't the case, especially when I had a smaller SD card and like I'd free up space on one place, and where I'd have like a game downloaded on the Switch, but then the DLC on the SD card or something annoying like that. So that's useful at that point. It's not going to serve me really because, again, mine's already organized right. But
the one instance where this could have been useful in a different world with a different me, I accidentally somehow downloaded Warframe to my system memory. And it was like, I just saw on my system memory, I had like 10 gigs left or something like that. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So I originally thought that maybe like Smash Brothers was saving my replays to my system memory somehow. And then when I looked at it, it was like, well, no, that's not the case. And then I found that it was Warframe. Now, it even like if this happened sooner, it still wouldn't have mattered because like I just deleted Warframe because I don't play it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. You just delete something and re-download it. And then if there's room on your SD card, you'll just download it to SD card, which is something that I did do in the past, again, before now.
And I like,
but still, I mean, cool
and,
that it's
in
there.
that case, it was just like, it just wouldn't have mattered because like, even if I had that feature, I would have deleted it anyway because I didn't have any reason to move it. Had it been like Smash Brothers or something like that, then yeah, that's useful because then I don't have to like re-download it. I can
Right.
And I don't know what the time difference there is.
That's like, a good question. I was wondering about that too, because like, I guess with a download, it's an internet speed question, whereas with this,
I think
it would
it's
be
both, so it might be faster. So because if your internet is faster than your read speed or your write speed, it's like the write speed's going to bottleneck it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Whereas in the other direction,
if
your internet's slower than your write speed, then it's going to be slower than it could be. So like, I guess it really just depends on your internet speed. Because like if your internet speed is really good, I assume that it's like negligible. Like it really doesn't matter.
Right.
But if your internet speed is bad, then yeah, I would say then just transferring it would be better.
Yep. So it's cool. It's there. Look at that. Gonna skip over that one. Added a new section in user settings for play activity settings. I honestly like play activity data, and this one was not useful to me. Like it wasn't fun. You know, like it would be cool if they did more minute stuff with play activity data in some way, you know, like where you could see like more than the top 20 games or yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, just stuff like that's fun. Just because I'm a nerd. We're all nerds. It's great, isn't it? Awesome. But that said, this just means you can delete play activity for some things, which that said, like if I downloaded there are times where actually this would still be cool. Like say I downloaded a demo to a game that I just really didn't end up caring about or whatever, and I'd rather it show the 20 games that I care about at the top, that it's like, look, I'm playing these games for my friends to be able to look at it. Then you could delete off the demo, which is nice. But like, also, not a feature a lot of people probably were clamoring for, but it's there. So that's fun.
Yeah, I really don't care about the play activity at all, really.
That's a me kind of thing. That's not really an AJ kind of thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yep.
The only time that it even comes into play is if it's like a video specific thing where it's like, I played this much of this game.
Yep.
And that's about it. I don't look at it and say, oh, I played freaking how many hours of this. That's neat.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, some other things. So the last small one was the profile icons getting updated. There's some amiibo or some Animal Crossing ones now. Cool. They added 6 new ones, they said.
Of my friends list is Flick now.
I didn't realize. I thought Flick was a girl, to be honest, and then found out it was he's a boy. So now you know. Is Flick's not new in this one, is he? Has he been around?
I don't think so.
There's some characters that are new to New Horizons, but I don't know which ones.
Yep.
They're all new to me.
Let's Google it.
True. Also, I think it's funny that Rossetti is one of the icons that you can be, because like there's not a lot. He's not really showing up a lot, you know. Probably any new, like if I showed the icons, so we've got Isabel, Tom Nook, KK, Timmy and Tommy.
Oh, no, that's not true. He is new. He's new.
Oh, CJ and Flick are new?
I just saw Flick, so I'd assume that CJ's also new.
Cool. Nice. There you go.
So yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, it looks like, and the new ones are the like very New Horizons looking one. Also, I assume Wilbur and what's his face? Wilbur.
Yeah, they're definitely new.
Ashley loves Wilbur so much. Like he's her favorite by far, and me too. He's great. What's the other one's name? Orville. That's it.
Yeah, they're like named after the Wright brothers or something.
Oh. Makes sense. Okay, but yeah, the last big one as far as the promoted things from 10.0.0 is
Yeah.
button remaps. Have you messed around
Yeah.
with this at all?
I messed around with this only in Smash Brothers. I feel like it's probably more useful in like the NES and SNES games, just because like some of the button layouts suck.
Yeah, very true.
But I messed with it in Smash Brothers because there's stuff that you can do.
I
Pretty
saw
much
the thing
just
that you retweeted of the one guy that like had the like press in buttons be two different things.
yeah.
That was cool.
Because you can't map that. I mean, you can map a lot of different stuff in
Uh-huh.
Smash Brothers, so a lot of it doesn't really matter. Where it's like, oh, you can change the D-pad to beat. You can already like do stuff like that. But you couldn't mess with the L and R3 buttons, as it were. So I messed with that. It feels like in theory, if your muscle memory and you're like precise enough, it could be really useful. What I was like trying to do with it was do like Ivysaur stuff where it's like I do like tether cancels because like when you grab the ledge and then you're above it and you could drop down and then switch to Charizard and freaking Flare Blitz people and they won't expect it, or use it to recover without them because you can punish him like the pendulum swing. I was trying to do stuff like that, but I just ended up either like dying because I like didn't press the direction and click in, or I would like completely like miss the input or whatever. And then a lot of times it would mess up punishes. So like I would get somebody in a position where it's like, oh, I can definitely kill you if I just do forward smash or whatever. And it would click down and do razor leaf. And then I just like drop the kill. So it's like right now it doesn't really feel useful. I'm gonna mess with it more because I think Pod's probably gonna make a video about it. So I'll report back and see if it's more useful later. But right now, man. Other characters could probably use it better. Like I saw a lot of
the
people
Monado one.
Yeah, like Shulk.
That's smart.
Yeah, like Shulk could probably get a lot of use out of it.
One where you like have it's not a split second reaction, but it's a lot faster than what it would be otherwise. Yeah, that seems useful. But yeah, I could see how Smash it could be good in that, but like kind of in specific use cases or whatever. And I mean, as far as it being like tournament legal and stuff, unless people figure out either get way better at it than you're saying, like how it's kind of cumbersome or like not super reliable right now, either if people get way better at it or if there's some stuff that's like obviously broken about it when you do that, I'd imagine that most of the time it would just make some tedious activities for characters less tedious, in which point like might as well, like seems like
I mean what a lot of people are arguing is it's like which
unless they're balanced for the
tedium, like tournament
maybe?
organizers that I've seen, they're on board because they're like, well, technically pro controllers already have the same advantage that they're getting here. They're just doubling down on that advantage because like the GameCube controller has less buttons. Just in and of itself, just by being the pro controller, it already has an advantage over the GameCube controller in that regard, and people still prefer and win more often, it seems, with the GameCube controller. So like why not allow this? But what people are arguing is like, yeah, but like this lets you like double up on certain things that you couldn't do otherwise, and making it easier can make you better at the game. Because like a lot of why people aren't as good, or like even people that are really good, like top players and stuff like that, even they drop inputs. Like even they struggle to hit certain buttons at the same time as doing something else, And if this reduces the time to do that or makes it more easier or convenient or whatever, that could theoretically make them significantly better and widen the gap between everybody else and them. But it's a case of like, well, you have access to the same tools they do, you just got to use the different controller, blah, blah, blah.
So did you messed around with this? Can you save profiles of this? I saw you can save it in general.
So what it does is so each controller saves its own thing, which is why we didn't specify, but Nintendo says that the only things that are supported, even though like that's not entirely true, we found out, the only things that are supported are official Nintendo Switch controllers. So the Pro Controller, Joy-Con,
and like the Switch Lite
itself. And the Switch Lite itself. Bob and Will, I think, tested the SN30 Pro. So it seems if it has the same amount of inputs, and it's like a controller that has like firmware attached to it, then it also is supported. But like the GameCube controller is not supported.
Okay, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I mean, like, I guess if the SN30 Pro works, then maybe the like PDP FightPad GameCube like controller. I mean,
I wonder. I mean, because the SN30 Pro probably shows up in like as a Pro controller,
and so
right?
does the
So I'd guess
FightPad.
any that show up as Pro controllers would
theoretically
do that as well. But
yeah.
That's interesting. Well, that's cool that you can save profile. Honestly, I would think about, because like, I mean, I've said this before, how like
I didn't even get into the profile part, but the controller itself has its own profile.
Yeah.
And then you can save 5 presets that you can then map to any other controller. So like something that the one of the TOs that I saw was talking on this, they were like, yeah, like this could work because like any popular button configs, like you could just map it to like save it to the Switch so that it saves time in that, because then they could just go to the preset and then set it to that, so that not every time people go to a setup to play their matches, they're not like, okay, hold on, wait, let me do my buttons, and then they're like scrolling through. They just go to the preset and it's like, all right, I'm good. So yeah, you can do that, and then also the 5 presets. So like if you have 8 controllers, those each can have their own button configuration, and then you can have 5 additional ones saved to the Switch itself to like
that's
change.
Cool. Yeah, I might mess around with that something and just find like yeah, I don't know, find some places that are more convenient in some places, because I don't know. Specifically, I remember when I was playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and just being able to play with one hand was useful for like if Ashley's laying down or whatever, and she's like, can you scratch my head? I'm like, all right, sure. And then I can scratch her head and play the game at the same time. So having that kind of thing is
like try
nice
to map
option.
Other games so you can play them.
Yeah, so I can just play with one hand, especially ones where it's like, you know, RPG-ish. Probably not Ni no Kuni. I'm thinking about it because like you kind of have to, there's some reaction time type stuff, but some other games definitely that could work. Just
the other thing, because of that, like if I can get used to it, it's going to be so easy for me to be like, okay, well, I can because I have a controller that is like specifically for Smash Brothers with the, like, you know, the freaking multi-shine controller.
Yeah.
So that is the one that's like, okay, that one has the button configuration, and I know. So just don't use that controller for other games, and then it's good. I don't even have to worry about like, oh man, I forgot I can't use my C-stick, so I died for whatever reason. I mean, not C-stick, but can't use L3 or whatever in this game because it's mapped to B.
There it is. But yeah, those were all the things that Nintendo announced, at least about 10.0.0. But there was one extra thing that had led some other people to various questions, and will lead us to questions as well, which is that somebody did, you know,
they data mined.
Data mine, that's the one. They data mined the update.
10.0.
And it referenced the NX ABCD, which to me honestly sounded fake at first until I found that the previous versions of the Switch have been called the ABCA, ABCB, ABCC, and now ABCD, which are the original Switch, the Switch Lite, the upgraded firmware, or the new Switch, quote unquote,
big battery, the big boy battery edition. And
so this one. And then this, which it also, so some things, it still references the Mariko chipset, which is the upgraded Tegra X, the same one that's in what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
But it talks about having a secondary display of some sort that's exclusively on that model and isn't referenced in any of the other ones. So this, I mean, brings us back to the long question, or the conversation topic that we've seen over and over again of the Switch family of systems. That is something somebody said, what was the dude's name? I don't know, the interim president for a while. I'm pretty sure it was him that talked about it. Yeah, Kimishima. I feel like he was the one that talked about it, but having a Switch family of systems rather than just like a Switch or whatever. So yeah, let's talk about it. What could this be?
That's a different show. But yeah, like I don't know about, like, obviously, like if it's in the firmware, then it makes sense that they're thinking about it in some way, but I don't even know how this connects to any of the things that anybody was thinking before. Like a secondary display to me doesn't sound like Switch Pro level material.
Yeah, right.
And it even sounds like too specific. Like it seems like who would make games for that if it's just this version of the console? And it's even within that, like it's not something like having more processing power, because there's developers that want that specifically. But what developer other than maybe internal Nintendo developers want another display?
Yeah.
Like I guess this could be useful for like Mario Maker, and maybe Splatoon 2, for people that want like the Wii U like experience for those games. But other than that, what's the point of having a secondary display on Switch?
Yeah. So I guess one of the thoughts that somebody else had, I think it was Andre Seegers from Game Explain, had the thought of maybe it could be like a Switch VR thing, or maybe it wasn't him. I don't remember. Somebody mentioned it being like a VR Switch. Like if they liked the way that the Nintendo Labo VR stuff went, they could maybe lean into that, because that would have two screens theoretically then in that case, depending on how you do it. So that's one option.
If it has the same like hardware as the current Switch, I don't even know how that, like, what's the point then?
What do you mean?
Like it has the same hardware as the current Switch, and the current Switch isn't like particularly good at VR. So why do like a VR unit unless you're going to like up the specs on it and make the VR experience better?
All I could imagine on that is that it would just have I mean like the screen itself would be better, and that it would have then.
You would think that would require more horsepower to then power that screen if it's higher resolution.
Right, yeah. If it's that, I mean, either higher horsepower or, I mean, them overclocking it would be I don't know a lot of technical stuff, so here we go.
I mean, they could overclock it. But the problem with that then is like then you
battery life,
into like
heat.
overheating it, and even though like from the early tests it looks like you have to like freaking overheat. I mean, you have to like overclock it a lot for it to like actually like run into the problem. Relative to like, and by a lot I mean like relative to like how much people have been.
I mean, I guess one thing too with it is if it's the new chipset, then you'd have a lot more room to overclock it, because it's way more underclocked for the battery lifespan to be longer and stuff. But if you're doing VR stuff, you're not out and about, like you're not going to play for longer than 3 hours at a time or something like that of the battery lifespan that you would have. So I don't know. So that would be one thing. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, the other kinds of two-screen display Switch or systems that we've had have been a Wii U style thing and 3DS, DS kind of thing.
And it's like that was the first thing that came to mind for me when I heard the secondary display or whatever. Where it's like, I guess freaking 3DS and DS games, but that seems very strange to release a whole like SKU for, where it's like you wanted to play 3DS and DS games. Maybe enough people, and like the NX video that me and Bob made were like maybe 3DS games or whatever. Maybe they saw that and they're like, that would be neat, we should do that, and then they had like a SKU just for that.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, that would be because like doing it because of something Wii U wouldn't really make any sense, because we've already gotten all the Wii U ports. More, there's a couple more that we're probably going to get, and then besides that, it's like there's really no point in doing that. So I wonder if it could also mean, and I don't know, maybe them saying a secondary display is as specific as something like the Wii U or 3DS or VR or whatever, but maybe it means something even different and less weird, more just there's a second display that you could have. I don't know, like if it's docked or something like that, like put it on two TVs or
like the only other thing that I was thinking about that I was like, well, this could be useful in theory, as if you could do like Wii U but better, where it's like you have the Switch docked and then somebody could play a game on the TV, and then somebody else could play a game on the secondary display.
Right.
Again, you run into that would need significantly more processing power to run 2 games at once.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because my only thought there, like thinking Mario Kart, you know, for example, if you could display it on, or maybe here's the other, I mean, maybe it really just is, well, I guess is exactly what you were saying, is like that it would be on the handheld version as well as on a TV or something like that.
Which is just Wii U.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I don't know. So the question here too is like without figuring out even exactly what it is, I wonder what the future of the Switch family of systems is still looking like at this point, because the Switch Lite was more stripped down than most of us would have thought prior to it coming out, like it not being able to dock and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm just curious, like how broad they could end up going.
Yeah.
And how far off the mark.
For that, like the Switch Lite is not entirely unprecedented for them, but it seemed unprecedented because they went in such a different direction with Switch, where a big part of its success was the fact that they had this like mission statement and everybody was buying into it. So it seemed counterintuitive for them to go counter to that.
Right.
Whereas like before, whenever they had some sort of mission statement that's like, this is what this console is about, and if people bought into it, they didn't stray from that. Like they didn't release a Wii that didn't have motion controls or whatever, right? Because that was the selling point. Whereas like a lot of people were like, yeah, but they had 2DS. And I was like, yeah, but that's because the 3D wasn't the selling point for 3DS at all. They tried to pin it up as that, but then they ran into a whole bunch of like legal stuff where they had to like have the
within like a year.
Like,
it was
if you're like 7 and under, you can't even play this in 3D, you know? So like them pivoting from 3D made more sense than them pivoting from being able to dock and undock your Switch, because that was the selling point, and it still is very much so. Even if there's people that don't actively do both, it's still a very convenient thing, even if you only do it once every freaking 7 months or whatever. Where it's like, oh, I always play this handheld, but I got people over, we can play Mario Party and dock it on the TV, you know? Like that was why that seemed weird. But in this case, it just seems so far from anything they've done before, because usually when they do revisions, they're revisions. So it's like, okay, what problem are we fixing here? Or like, what more are we adding to this experience that we couldn't before? And a secondary display doesn't really feel like it caters to anyone.
Right.
So
Yeah,
like,
I honestly, because for me, I think the more logical steps for them, this specific stuff aside, is either they do a docked only Switch, which, because like they put out that poll, this was a while ago at this point, so I'd be curious if they did an upgraded or an updated poll, what it would look like. But they did that poll back in like 2018 or 2017. That was like 50% of users are hybrid, and then like 20% are docked only and 30% are handheld only, or something along those lines. But it
ended up being like down the middle for everything. So it was
pretty
like,
much,
the majority technically was both. So it was like 50% both, 25% handheld, 25% docked only. And it wasn't a poll, it was like based on like usage.
Oh yeah, that's right, based on actual usage and stuff. So like, I mean, they've got that data, so they would be able to tell, you know, oh, there's an audience of, you know, if there's 50 million Switches out there, then that's 12.5 million people that only care about the handheld. There's probably more people like that would be interested in buying just a handheld version. And there have been, and there were. And so a logical step would be to go the other direction, serve the other 25% that only play it docked. And it's like, all right, here's, you know, get the best out of that. Or doing the Switch Pro kind of thing, which has its own caveats and questions. But the secondary screen thing doesn't fit into either of those in my mind. So it would be cool.
Like even then, I don't understand. I don't know what they would even do to like, because with that, then I guess a Switch, like a dock only Switch, would in theory be cheaper than the Switch Lite.
Yeah, right. I don't know then the Switch Lite necessarily. I mean,
I think it probably
should.
would.
I don't know that it. I bet they would poise it at the exact same price.
Shrinking hardware is more expensive than just making it dedicated. Right. So like the Switch being the same price as the PlayStation 4 is not because, well, the PlayStation 4 now I think it's cheaper. But being in that price range isn't because the Switch is more powerful, but in a sense, it's more advanced because it packs more the power that it has into a smaller form factor.
Yeah.
So like in this case, they don't have to do all that. So it could, in theory, be cheaper. But then like, where does that leave Switch like? Because like, it's weird because the Switch Lite just in like promotion and like what it looks like when you see it on store shelves seems like it's like the replacement for like a 2DS, as it were, right? Where it's like this is the entry point thing, but then you get an entry point thing that is only TV, which seems counter to like giving it to your kid, right? Because a lot of times, like if you're going to do handheld, especially if it's like a dad, where it's like, man, I want to freaking watch sports, dude. You got to get off the TV. If I have a Switch that's just TV, that sucks for the kid. Like I'm like they need to get a Switch Lite. So it seems so weird if they were to do a dock-only Switch for them to like do that and then maybe make it like.
I think what probably they do is they'd
see them do is make it more powerful.
Yeah.
And then be like the same price as the regular Switch.
Either more powerful. But the other thought is also like more space, like hard drive space and that kind of thing, where they would like kind of buffer that cost with other things. So they would make sure to like think of it in a marketing standpoint first. Cause like, I think you're right. It being cheaper than a Switch Lite would be kind of weird. So then I think they would make it at least the same price, maybe $250, maybe $300 so that it feels like this is a premium piece of hardware. But then they would, I mean, because probably it would come with maybe a Pro Controller or Joy-Cons or something like that. But that's still like, that's a sizable cost that the Switch Lite doesn't have Joy-Cons. So like, you know, that's some money. And then the other part of it just being that like, yeah, probably more space. And maybe they would be able to overclock it some more so that it would run some games better because they have a better cooling situation going on because they can just do that.
Yeah, like they could just straight up use the Tegra chipset and not you know, like hinder it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where all this goes. I'd be curious to see, and because I haven't looked it up either, but when the ABC-C, for example, showed up in an update to see if there's a timeline that would show like, we'll probably find out about this within this amount of time. But I mean, maybe also they're just starting to work on it or whatever, but
I just want to see, like, forget the ABCD. I want to know what the ABCDEFGHIJK specifically.
Oh,
I want to know what that's going to be.
That's what I want to know too. What is that K? You know, but we'll have to find out in a really long time. And just like Nintendo pushes their games out for as long as they take, which is this article about Animal Crossing. This is just a quick one, but I thought it was interesting in any case. So, news publication Bloomberg has published an article dedicated to Animal Crossing: New Horizons, which has been deemed as the perfect escape from this pandemic throughout the world. Blah blah blah.
How dare you? You got this video demonetized, even though it was demonetized to begin with.
Coronavirus, pandemic throughout the world.
Well, technically you didn't. All you said was Corona, and that's a beer. I don't know.
That is a beer.
Demonetizable.
I wonder, is it still demonetizing stuff?
I don't know.
At this point?
I don't know. I haven't said coronavirus in the video.
Yeah. So one of the things raised within this article is that developers at Nintendo are allowed as much time as they need on projects to ensure they live up to fan expectations. This is a far cry from many companies within the video game industry. And then here's the quote. Nintendo developers are allowed as much time as they need to be satisfied with the quality of the game before its release, according to a company programmer who asked not to be identified because he's not authorized to comment publicly.
We know who you are, Miyamoto.
A rushed game, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. I thought it was interesting to hear that because when I first heard that this article was a thing, I think I didn't see the title or something like that. But I just saw about the article and I thought it was going to say like, because it was just like Nintendo Crunch, something. And I thought it was going to say like Nintendo actually does have crunch and they don't tell us about it because that's the world we live in. And then it was very different to see that it was like, nah, man, it's exactly what it seems like.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we just do whatever we want.
It seemed like a non-story to me when I saw this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but we knew that already.
Yeah, it's just interesting to hear it from some. I mean, not even interesting, more like reassuring or whatever. But at the same time, like, I wonder if there's a limit for that too, where they're like, nah, it's good
I would
enough.
assume so, because like they got to make money. They can't just be like, unless you're Miyamoto and you're working on a Pikmin game, they're not just going to let you like develop a game for 12 years.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, Mother 4 is a very important property, so delay it again. It's fine.
Yep. It is actually, I plan on making a video that talks about this a little bit at some point, but the fact that Nintendo sits on their games for a while is just, I feel like they must be the only company, just from what we hear, that does that, you know, because pretty much everybody else, it seems like they're like, we just got to get this out. Like as soon as we can get it out, we're getting it out, you know? And Nintendo's like, nah, we'll hold on to Yoshi for 4 months just because, you know, why not?
It's like, you know what? Yoshi will be done in September, but it seems more like a January game. So
yeah, which like I appreciate that in some regards too, because you know, like Luigi's Mansion coming out in April would have been like really
what? Really?
So I mean, if we hadn't gotten any games at all, and they like needed something to fill a slot, sure, I'm down. But there you go. So yeah. But so Nintendo, they do that stuff. They develop these games.
We knew that they did.
They do. It's Saber also tries to make games work on the Switch, but they said that World War Z is the hardest thing that they've ever had to do. Getting it to work on the Switch.
So didn't they like? This is like a new announcement that this is even happening, right?
Yes, I think so.
It's a very strange thing to like in concert announce, where it's like we're doing this thing. Who knows, man? It's hard. Like, that's so weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. So here's the article in any case. Saber Interactive, the studio behind Switch port of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which seems like that's saying a lot if this is harder than that, I guess, is bringing World War Z to the Switch. So World War Z is a 4-player cooperative third-person shooter. There's hundreds of zombies can sometimes appear on screen, and the game also supports 4 players online. Saber CEO Matt Karch said that giving everything involved a Switch port has been the hardest thing that we have had to do. And then here's the full quote from him to IGN. The biggest challenge was finding which compromises could be made to the game, which wouldn't have a significant impact on visuals. We needed to make sure the game looked great, fit into the Switch's memory, and ran at a solid frame rate. There was really no single factor which made this a reality. We experimented constantly for the first few months until we found that balance. Keep in mind that we are rendering scenes with hundreds of enemies and 4 players online. Getting this to run on the Switch is the hardest thing we've had to do. This is true even though we're porting our own Swarm engine over to the platform. And
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. But this is like another one of those like headlines where it doesn't. It reads differently for the type of person that would hear this and be like, yeah, Switch, like you shouldn't even put this game on there because it wouldn't run or whatever. They're more so saying that like it, or at least it seems to me that they're more so saying like it's not something that they're really used to having to do. Where it's like prioritizing and saying like, okay, how is this game still this game with the compromises that we have to?
Yeah, right.
And because of like the type of game that it is, where unlike most other like ports that are made to Switch, the thing that makes it hard to run is integral to the gameplay. A lot of the times, like The Witcher 3, right? Nothing about that game's gameplay is like, man, this could never run on other hardware. It's the visuals.
Yeah.
And the visuals are not essential at all. Like the game can look like a freaking N64 game and still be The Witcher 3.
It is, yeah, and it's funny thinking because like I like watching some Digital Foundry stuff here and there, but and I think they do a pretty good job for the most part of pointing out what things just kind of are nice but don't matter. The commenters less so a lot of times, but them being like, yeah, the anti-aliasing here, blah, 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 is something, and like refractive shadows, that's not, I don't know if that's a thing, but saying fancy words like that about things that it's like, this looks very realistic for what it is, but at the same time, like if we didn't have the thing to compare it against, wouldn't really know one way or another, at least
because like people say that Switch games, like that crowd, say like,
Mhm.
"Oh, Switch games look terrible," but they were playing games that look worse than
Yeah.
that a generation ago.
Yeah.
So like,
And at the time they were
and
like,
they were
this
like,
is the
"This
best
looks
looking game ever.
real,
Yeah.
dude." Yeah, it's like freaking so dumb.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's, I mean, interesting to hear about, especially compared to The Witcher, I thought. So we'll see how that actually pans out as it goes, but whatever. And then a couple last bits before we move into the rest of the stuff. Some games coming to the Switch or things that we learned more about. Ninjala open beta is on April 28th and 29th. Battle for Bikini
Yo, it's gonna
Bottom
be late.
is coming June 23rd.
Just delete that game.
Yeah. Jump Force is coming to the Switch, even though they had some comments where they were like, nope, we're not working on it a while ago. But
Yeah, I freaking
then they
hate
started
them.
working on it,
I
obviously.
hate
So
them.
there we
I
go.
hate them so much. And that game sucks. So like,
Did you play it on PS4?
yeah, my brother has it, and he's like, my older brother. That's like always like, yo, let's play Yu-Gi-Oh, or like, you know, random like '90s kid nostalgia games. He's all about it, right?
Yeah.
So like, freaking Jump Force got announced. He's like, yo, we need to play this game. I was like, all right, I'll play this game. And I played it. I was like, this game sucks.
I wish they would make anime games or what. I mean, there are some, but they would make anime games that felt like the anime, and B, not just fighting games. You know?
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Like with the same rationale that they do with pretty much every licensed game now, because a light bulb went off for people with Arkham Knight or Arkham Asylum, the original, in that franchise, and been like, oh my god, you mean if we make licensed games good, they can sell better and be like critically acclaimed and beloved by fans instead of being a meme, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, this is a movie game, I don't want to play this, you know? Like, you
Yeah.
want to make the thing with the established fan base a good, like, you know, like prestige piece, not a like, oh, well, we have the franchise to lay back on. So,
I mean, making anime games be fighting games feels like it is exactly the same as if you were to make all like comic book games fighting games, like Spider-Man,
which is
even
weird,
like,
because I would say some anime makes sense as just being like Dragon Ball Z, like that doesn't, especially at this point, right? Where they have made so many Dragon Ball Z games that there's only been so many times you can tell the story, you know? So like Kakarot being the first like open world like RPG sort of situation, that makes sense because like how many times can you do that? But for other anime where like the world is more wide open and like there's more stories that can be told that are interesting and stuff like that, it seems like you would want to make games that are open world, or like a freaking like make a food wars game that's like a cooking mama, you know, but like good. We could easily do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, it's a lot of this stuff is companies not wanting to take risks and just kind of wanting to cash in and do the easy thing because they have the thing to fall back on, and that's just lame. So it's nice when they actually put effort into it. But Jump Force apparently is not
get
that,
Jump Force, I guess, if you're dumb. But no, I'm joking.
And then the last one of those, Streets of Rage 4 is coming on April 30th. And then the other thing that was kind of bigger this week that I don't really know anything about, but whatever, Crisis Remaster is coming, and we found out accidentally that it's coming to Switch.
Can run Crisis. That means it's a powerful console. That's the meme.
Is that, I don't know anything about Crisis. It died out before I was paying attention again. So tell me.
The game, really, I don't know.
Okay.
Like the game, like who cares? It's like a generic shooter or something. But like it's much more well known for like, can this PC or this console or whatever run this game? Because it's like the pinnacle of like technical achievements in video games. That sort of thing. That's the meme. But the game died apparently, but now it's back.
Now it's back. So this is it seems like there was a Crisis 1, 2, and 3. This is Crisis,
and like
1.
Crisis 3 was supposed to come to Wii U too. It was like, man, it can run Crisis. I guarantee you, freaking Nintendo of America specifically was like, we need this game so the hardcore know that we're powerful.
That's right. And then it didn't happen apparently. So yeah, there you go. But it's fun that it's coming to Switch. Hopefully it comes day and date. And like, also funny, I don't know if this one is being published by EA, but I think the original was published by EA. Which again, like anytime EA publishes something on the Switch now, I'm like, just curious to see what happens, because like I would very much like them to just be like, yeah, sorry guys, we were dumb. Not even because I care about their games, just because I want them to know that they're dumb.
Yeah.
Which is like really petty, to be perfectly honest, but it's, you know,
But honest,
yeah,
honest with yourself, honest with
that's right,
the objective truths of the world,
So there's that. Oh yeah, there was also, I didn't put this in here, but some quote or something about how pretty much like, so Final Fantasy went to Sony back, on the PlayStation 1 back in the day, and there was something where like Nintendo said that Square Enix couldn't be on a Nintendo system for like 10 years or something after that. I'm getting it wrong because I'm not looking up the article, but it was something along those lines. And then like Square Enix vowed to try to make Sony be the winners for forever or something along those lines, which was very funny to hear about, but I don't really know. So, but they make RPGs. You made a video about just those RPGs,
Yep,
a little bit. So let's talk about your video and some comments.
Yeah, I talked about Paper Mario because I wanted to talk about Paper Mario a long time ago. And then Arlo talked about Paper Mario. I was like, I don't want to talk about Paper Mario because then everybody's going to be like, yo, you talked about it because Arlo talked about it. But now it's like a freaking like community-wide like rumor. So I'm like, okay, it's acceptable now. So here we go. That's what happened.
Good stuff. Here's some comments and we'll talk about them. First one from Faithful the Great 64 says, I think Fawful the Great. Sure. Whatever that means. Fawful the Great 64 said, I think Paper Mario has been focusing on exclusively main series characters and elements for too long. I'd rather have an original antagonist and cast of NPCs again. Also, I want the subtitle to reference the story, a la Thousand Year Door, rather than the gimmick of the day. In fact, I don't want there to be a gimmick of the day unless it doesn't take away from the story. I didn't have an issue with Super Paper Mario's direction, but if it's a traditional game like Thousand Year Door, I'd prefer it to just be a natural progression from that game style with no added gimmick and just a grand new adventure to go on, full of Easter eggs that reference the first three games and a new antagonist on the level of Dimentio and Count Bleck.
I think that those aren't things that are mutually exclusive, for one. For two, it's kind of like, which it doesn't, like this whole thing wouldn't surprise me if they did like went more so in this direction I was talking about, where it's like they made a mechanic and then they built a game around the mechanic because that's how they make all their games.
Yeah.
And they kind of did like I think there was like other comments that were like similar to this that were like, I don't want this to like reference the mechanic, but it's like Paper Mario already did, like there are mechanics that reference the title always. It just was Paper Mario was a new thing, so it didn't seem like a new gimmick, but Paper Mario in and of itself was a new gimmick when the new games came out. And like I don't think that, especially in an RPG, having like a mechanic like what I was talking about, it's more so of like, especially like like the printer and the copier thing, it's surface level stuff. It's just put in like, it just what is it called, like kayfabe in wrestling, where it's like this like in-world explanation for a thing that's happening.
Gotcha.
It's not something that's like new to RPGs to do like freaking item management or like that sort of thing. It's not a gimmick in the sense that like Color Splash's color mechanic was a gimmick. It's just dressing up a mechanic that exists in every RPG ever anyway.
I mean, even with the Color Splash color mechanic thing, I think it could have been used from, again, I didn't play the game, but from the reviews that I've seen of it and that kind of stuff, it seems like it could have been used to where the gimmick wasn't all that it was, but it was, like lent to the rest of it. But it just didn't do that, I guess, like that it stuck to it too closely.
Yeah. And it was like part of the battles. And I very specifically said in the video that I didn't think that it should play a lot into the battles. I think that the battles themselves should stick to like,
and like, I think, and it seems to me like it's fun when a gimmick or whatever adds flavor to the world and like context and stuff, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily change it. Where, I mean, that's the case in like all sorts of, I don't know, I'm thinking like tons of indie games recently, especially, I feel like started with started with ideas and then kind of built off of that. And it's like, this is going to inform the universe in and of itself. And so thinking especially like SteamWorld Quest is one that comes to mind, which ironically did have card-based battles sort of thing. But that's one where obviously they were like, we're going to take the SteamWorld robot people thing and then do an RPG. And like, how do we want to do that? Well, we'll do cards. And then all of the like flavor text and context of the world is kind of like informed by that. But at the same time, you can still have a cool story around that stuff, I think, like you said. But it does seem to me that also starting with a gimmick is just Nintendo's, outside of very specific situations, you know, I think that's just Nintendo's way of going about thinking about a game.
Right. And then, like, on the topic of the new antagonists and stuff like that, Bowser was still in the original Paper Mario. Like, there's nothing about this idea that says that there can't be new characters. It's just saying that, like, the crux of it is, like, Bowser wants to do this thing. And for all we know, it could be a thing of, like, it actually wasn't Bowser, because they do that a lot, too, in every game ever. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I think these are, like, two nitpicky things of, like, and it's that happens a lot with, like, franchises that aren't particularly successful. Where it's like, oh, you're trying to change it too much to be like the other things that they do that are successful. I don't want that. And it's like, yeah, but Nintendo would want their thing to perform like their things that are successful.
Yeah. I appreciate the spirit behind it though, because like I think Fawful, the idea behind the comment is like keeping it
like that
interesting and like, you know, like good and not kind of surface level or whatever.
Right.
And I think there's ways that they can do that.
Yeah, and I agree with that part of it, but I disagree with like the idea that it's like using it as a way to like celebrate Mario or whatever is like something I don't like, because I want them to have new characters, but they can celebrate Mario and still have new characters. Because another thing that I like specifically said is like use it as a way to to celebrate the past of Mario, but also like gesture towards the future of it, and introducing new characters that they could then reuse elsewhere. So that they don't have to reuse that character again in Paper Mario, you know, like that sort of thing is like a very easy thing to do with like now Nintendo's only like story-led Mario game or whatever, right?
Yeah, I am curious about the future of because the last time we got a new Mario and Luigi game at this point was early on the 3DS, right?
It was like towards the end because they did Paper Jam, which was like a combination of Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then before then, it was like the year of Luigi, which was like what 2013 or something. They did Dream Team for Mario and Luigi.
So it's been a while since those, and now Alpha Dream, you know, is gone. So just wonder if Alpha Dream's gone so they can consolidate into this or whatever. I mean, they went bankrupt, so they're gone because they went bankrupt, but still. Next comment is from Sketchbud, who says, one feature they ought to bring back would have to be the allies who join Mario and upgrade that feature by having two of them join him for combo attacks and a side plot of these different allies getting into an argument with Mario being stuck in the middle.
I mean, I'd be down for that. That's a thing that I like a lot about those games too. It's like seeing the Mario like archetypes in a different context, where it's like you have a Goomba on your team. That never happens in Mario. You know, like this Bob-Omb's a good guy. You know, so yeah, I'd agree with that. Like I want to see like the freaking like you know like the woodpecker things in Mario Odyssey that like propel themselves.
Oh yeah, what are they called? Those guys.
I don't know. The woodpecker things.
The little woodpecker guys. They're
fun. But those, like seeing those in a Paper Mario game could be neat. Like the freaking what is it? The totem looking man, the stone dude that Mario takes control.
Man, what's like the Easter Island looking thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what he's called either.
New enemies like that would be cool too.
Yep. And the little guys, the little like
Oh yeah.
The ones from also from Mario Odyssey in the forest that
And
like
the
in the pots with the
freaking
legs.
like the pterodactyl man.
Yeah. Oh, he was fun. I hope he comes back in just more things in general. Um, yeah, he was cool. What a
Also,
good
the
game.
freaking dragon from Dark Souls.
What was he doing in there?
I don't know.
Yeah, that it was so weird to go to that level and be like, why are we
Yeah, why are
actually
we
playing
here?
Dark Souls right now, though?
But
Like,
that it makes sense with the theme of the game, because the theme of the game is like Mario's like a freaking, he's out of place, you know, he's in a world that is counter to his world.
Yep.
So
I also wish that level was bigger because it was
Yeah.
like cool, you know?
yeah,
So if we had like some more of that, I'd be down. But yeah, I like the idea of allies joining Mario just in general. I mean, like except for Ni no Kuni right now, I like having people join my party and like having, you know, more versatile things to do. Right now it sucks because everybody's dying all the
everybody
time.
sucks, man. It sucks because they suck.
Yeah, pretty much. So as long as I can control them too, I'm good. Just keep me in charge, you know? But nevertheless, yeah, I like that
Parker,
idea.
control freak. You heard it here first. Wow, man.
You're welcome.
You
Here
hate
we
to
are.
see it. You hate to see it.
Next comment from Wyatt Merrill, who I also pulled a comment from him on my video. So look at that. What's up, Wyatt? Said, Paper Mario 64 is in my top 3 games of all time. Please, Nintendo, return to form and give us a solid Paper Mario game in 2020 for Switch. What I really want is a team of partners to solve puzzles and help in combat. I asked a follow-up question of what characters... Oh, AJ asked a follow-up question of what characters you'd like to see. And he said, I really like the Shy Guys... I really like the Shy Guys in Paper Mario 64. I also liked having a Goomba, Koopa, and Para-Koopa as allies since they're typically your enemy.
Yeah, so similar rationale to me.
Yep.
Where it's like, I like that. So I want to see. I specifically wouldn't really care to see like the same ones again. Which a lot of times they'll like do. What they've done is like they're like, oh, you have a Koopa Trooper on your team, but it's a different Koopa Trooper than the last game. You know, like that's. So I guess that would be fine in moderation.
Yeah.
But I think it would be like more fun is if they use like enemies that they never did.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically, like I don't think that like for allies in particular, it's not as fun if they're new characters, in my opinion. If they're your allies and they're completely new creations. I think it's more fun when it's like this thing exists in Mario already, and I have a completely different opinion of it, but this one's a good guy, and it's like why?
I mean, because it's in the platformers of Mario, which is most of Mario, you can only have a surface level kind of understanding of most of the characters because like you're gonna jump on it, and they're trying to attack you. Like, and most of the time it's probably innocuous, you know, like the little leg spinny guys from with the pots in Mario Odyssey. Like they're not like, they don't seem like they're trying to hurt you because they don't like you so much as like they're just
that's just
like,
a job, man, and that's all we know.
And also like they're freaked out, you know, there's this big old guy coming at them and trying to like attack them or something. But then especially in Odyssey, having the whole like capping mechanic where you then become those things, even just that gives a different perspective.
And they could even play into that and been like, man, you were in my head in this other world and it really messed me up, you know, or whatever.
Now I see everything through a whole new light. Yeah, and then they want to join you.
So I kind of like reference back to other comments. I think that it kind of does Paper Mario as a property a disservice to like make everything original, because at that point just make an original game. Whereas like with Paper Mario, it's a Mario game, so why not use the Mario world in this new context? Because like even in like main series Mario games, they don't have the opportunity to do that because they're not like story driven games.
Yep. I'm looking up what the bird is called because I really want to know.
Oh, the freaking woodpecker man.
Yeah.
Just type into Google Mario Odyssey woodpecker man.
Must include woodpecker. Pokio, that's the one.
There it is.
Good job, internet. You done your job. But yeah, I like the idea of. I mean, this will. Everybody who's been around knows I've missed a lot of games. This will be my first Paper Mario game, so I'd be excited to have some
blasphemy.
Yep. pretty much some characters, you know, have
blasphemy.
get some variety to them. Next comment comes from Red Poppy, who says, I love the idea of Nintendo poking fun at itself with quote unquote leftover paint from Color Splash's commercial failure. There is already precedent since Luigi's Mansion 3 poked fun at the Virtual Boy.
Yeah. And Paper Mario just seems like the type of game to do that. It's like snarky, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that in this game, I just think it would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Well, and especially too, I don't know how, you know, because with Nintendo being fairly broad, next level games is a team, and then intelligent systems would be a whole separate team. So like they wouldn't necessarily have the same rationales and stuff. But even within, I mean, it's not specifically intelligent systems, but kind of where the Smash reveal for Byleth definitely poked fun at like Smash of like
because like who specifically, it was like, I think it was like a Smash Bros, it was like Zero or something like that. That was like, or somebody else, it was like an influencer more so than like somebody within Nintendo, but they're talking about how like Nintendo like definitely pays a lot of attention to social media, like the media, they know what's going on, a lot more than what people would think. So for them to do something like this makes sense. Like Sakurai even was talking about like, like I know that there's this like idea that there's too many sword characters. I think there's too many sword characters, but we freaking work in a corporation, man. So like,
that is
not
funny.
Every decision can be made by that, you know.
And like, that's a lot of restraint for like the marketing team to, I mean, obviously they're not allowed to respond to things, but like that's gotta suck to be like, I know people are mad about this one thing. Actually, you know, Bill Trinan mentioned, I was listening to NVC a couple weeks ago and he was on there. And some question definitely pointed to the fact that like, he was like, yeah, we're really, really in tune with what our community thinks about stuff. But again, like you said, it doesn't really show because they don't respond to it in the same way. Even like Wendy's does, or, you know, a lot of those social media accounts. But that's because I guess the kind of information that they give out is, I don't know, like them being an online presence is different from a fast food restaurant being an online presence where it's, and like,
also I think it's because they have a different philosophy. And honestly, one that I agree with more. Like they're not the type of company that like they hear you, but they're not necessarily going to listen to you, you know? And I respect that because like I like Nintendo because they're Nintendo. I don't like if Nintendo listened to everything that we wanted, they become something else, you know? And it's kind of like what Dragon Ball has become as a property, where it's like, I know people like Frieza, so I'm going to bring Frieza back in Dragon Ball Super, and it's going to be like this ham-fisted, like stupid explanation for why he's relevant again, and like stuff like that happens, and you become a shadow, like almost a parody of what you were before if you just listen to what fans like, because like you don't, when a fan is like, I want X, this fan is always going to have like this very hyper specific to them idea of what your property is. It's never going to be like this holistic thing of like, I love everything about your property. I just love this one thing, and I want to accentuate that one thing that I love about it. So give me more of the one thing that I love about it. Whereas if a company is like, I'm going to ignore everything, or creator in general is like, I'm going to ignore everything that you say with reason, within reason. And I'm just going to continue to do what's my vision, because then you'll get a more consistent product, and the thing that you love will continue to be the thing that you love, but better.
Counterpoint, interestingly enough, Sonic. Thoughts on...
That's true.
I mean, but like at the same time, I think if you've been doing it wrong for long enough, sometimes you need some correction too. So like that's also, more playing like, devil's advocate than anything else.
And the thing that I would say to that is like, their problem is that they became inconsistent once they went into 3D. Like because Sonic was consistent until it went 3D, and then they didn't know what they were doing. Right. And that, I mean, that's been the case since they kind of went in 3D, where it's like, oh, Sonic 3D Blast, that game sucks, you know, and then Sonic R, that game kind of sucks. I mean, it sucks, period. But it's funny and like hokey, or whatever. So that one kind of gets a pass. And then Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 were like, they're okay. And then from there, they didn't know what they were doing. So then, if they're confused, then they're like, yeah, bring the fans in. Maybe they can give us ideas. But Nintendo knows what they're doing.
Right. Yes.
So for them to
and it's also like a bigger shotgun blast kind of, not shotgun blast makes it sound like they're not trying in any directions, but like there's a lot more things to fall back on, where Sonic is one property. And there's plenty of Nintendo franchises specifically. They're like, we tried, doesn't work, you know?
Yeah.
And for those ones,
because Sonic went just on their own accord, went in so many different directions, they established, and like not even like intentionally or, you know, like purposefully, where they're like, okay, we know where we want Sonic to go. They're like, we don't know where Sonic should go, so let's try this. And then they accrue fans that like that one specific part, and then they try to cater to that fan base. So then you end up with Sonic Forces, where it's like, we're nice and edgy, but we also have cute, creatable animal people. I like that sort of thing. It's like, all right.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Last comment from your video. Here goes. TS Nintendo Gamer says, great ideas. Or Bowser could just kidnap Peach and call it a day. JK. Here's my idea for a Paper Mario game, or any great Mario RPG in general. Maybe have the villain want to do something with the Mushroom Kingdom and Bowser Jr. Maybe have the villain want to do something with the Mushroom Kingdom and Bowser Jr. So this time the Mario Bros. And Bowser can team up once again. Maybe even plot twist where a villain first appears to be working for Mario only to turn against him.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Like, and it's kind of like what I was saying before. It's like, maybe it's not Bowser that's like, I freaking screw Mario, dude. Maybe it's a new villain that's like, yeah, I want to frame Mario to like help Bowser, because like maybe it could be like a Kylo Ren situation where he's like a Bowser fanboy, and then but Bowser's like secretly like he's cool with Mario, like he likes like having that like rivalry. That's why they party all the time, dude. And he's like, nah, but forget that. And he just like completely misses the point and like went at like Kylo Ren, where it's like freaking Darth Vader is a good guy now. But he doesn't know that.
I like this idea a lot.
You're like misguided, like, man, screw Mario.
Yep. And Bowser's like, no, man, but like he's fine though, so don't worry too much about him. And he's like,
he's like, I just kind of don't like him a little bit. Like, I don't want him to like actually die. You know,
we're just like, you know, workout buddies. Just like,
it's like Team Rocket. Like Team Rocket does that in the movies, where they're like, man, like you want Pikachu, but like not that bad. Like you guys are too far on the other end. They start helping.
Yeah, that's fun. We should do it.
We should do it. Yeah, let's do it.
I'll be Bowser.
Okay.
Cool. We're doing it. Any last thoughts on your video?
No.
I did. Okay. Cool. I did make a video. And here's some comments. It was on the Nintendo Switch Online. Our good buddy Bob Tholomew J. Wolfenstein IV.
I can't believe you doxed him. Dude, that's crazy.
I guess I don't know what doxing means. Is that like insult?
No, you freaking told the internet.
Oh yeah. Because like with the E3 stuff.
Yeah.
I do it. You know what? Sometimes it's for the good of the people. And it's for the good of specifically the one person, Bob Wolf, who now gets to have an even longer, cooler name. No, but it was great having him be involved. He knew way more about that stuff than I did. So that was cool to have him on there. But yeah, otherwise just talked about Nintendo Switch Online.
What a nerd, dude.
Yeah, come on, man. He should be playing Diablo. First comment, this one, Mason Rofi said, am I the only one that thinks he kind of sounds like Kermit?
Oh my God. I sent you and Max that.
You did.
Comment.
If anybody doesn't know, this is your first time around. Our buddy Max Wright from Loot Pods has said this several times. And
like we both were like, I don't know. Like,
what's funny, like I tested it out. I said this in the group chat with you guys, but I tested it out sort of by somebody recently, and I don't remember who it was, said, you sound kind of like blah, 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 which was kind of close to Kermit, whatever they said. And I was like, someone I know says I sound like Kermit. And they were like, oh, I totally see it. And I was like, come on.
Oh my God. And like seeing this comment blew my mind, because I was like, somebody's as dumb as Max. No, I'm joking. But
no, but I loved it. That was fun. And it's funny because especially when I went back and listened to just the first like 20 seconds of the video, and I was like, okay, I can definitely see it, right? I say now in some very nasally Owen Wilson kind of way right at the beginning, and like that plus some of the other things, like we're now at the point where we're blah 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 blah. Goodness. So there it is. But again, if anybody's hiring for the Muppets,
yeah, I told Parker that like if Disney Plus is like, yo, we're freaking rebooting the Muppets, and you can audition.
That would be fun. Voice acting would be a grand old time. I would very much like to do some of that.
And then you'll always get Kermit comparisons for the rest of your life. So I hope you like them.
Yeah, I'm down with whatever, as long as everybody's having fun, we're good. We're having it. We're doing it. And then next comment. This one is longer and less about Kermit comparatively, actually.
Bad comment already.
I bet though, if you like just pick out a whole bunch of letters, you could probably make the word Kermit
spell Kermit
more time. Yeah, probably a bunch of times even comparatively, but not in order.
I'm looking. Right. I'm going to look for it as you read this.
So Nikki Scott says a bunch of things. Starting here. NSO to me personally just ain't worth it. I'm not a big online playing person anyway, but ever since Nintendo revealed everything that this service is going to offer, I just never saw any worth it. If any worth in it. If anyone's reading this comment and acts like I hate the service just because it's only $20 a year, shut up, because the price point isn't the reason why I hate the service at all. I just hate the fact that cloud saves are behind a paywall and not all games support them. Having certain games be exclusive to the service is okay, but I want more than just a game of falling blocks to get on board. Special offers they have for the service so far are really not appealing to me in the slightest, especially those Switch vouchers because I prefer physical over digital. Classic NES and Super NES games are available on the system is fine, and the ability to play games online with friends is neat, but let's be honest, whenever people play those games on the Switch, how many folks actually play those games online? 99% of the time, they just load up one of those apps. That's not really a selling point, and the fact that I have to pay up every year to even access those games on Switch is kind of stupid. Voice chat being tied to a separate device, I'm not going to talk much on that because that's been beaten to death by many others already, but at the same time, why does it even exist at all, Nintendo? If you maybe wanted to target that app for kids, okay, but just don't force that on everyone who wants to talk to their friends or anyone online playing a Switch game. The service overall, in my opinion, I just don't see it getting better. If they really want me to pay for this service every year and support them with this, they need to do their part by making this service much better than what it is now.
I
have some thoughts.
I don't follow him for this opinion because it's very specific to him,
Yeah. I think
and that's the sort of thing where it's like I don't know if I agree with this equaling Nintendo Switch Online is bad. It sounds more like Nintendo Switch Online isn't for me because like the only opinion that aligns with that statement of like Nintendo Switch Online is bad is people being like it's laggy and blah blah blah, and that's also misguided as Bob pointed out because Nintendo Switch Online has nothing to do with that, like Nintendo Switch Online isn't this like network of like online code, where it's like every game, developed to this spec and that is going to run your online because it's just this one huge dedicated server, that has nothing to do with it. It's if your development is like specifically geared toward making sure your online works well, it's not going to work well. And that's the problem. It's a developer specific thing. And this just so happens to be a thing with a lot of Nintendo games. So it like gets compounded because their online experiences are usually not up to par. So they just get this reputation where it's like, well, it must be Nintendo's fault for everything. Any game that's bad online on Nintendo is because Nintendo's bad at it. And that's just not the case because there's a lot of games that work just as well on Nintendo Switch as they do on other platforms.
So that's one question for me too is because I didn't really look into this at all, but like Fortnite, for example, runs, I mean, besides the game itself being 30 FPS instead of 60 FPS or whatever, but online wise, it runs just as well on Switch as other consoles, right?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yes.
Okay.
And I played, I don't know if there's more or less people now, but the only time I played it was at like when it first launched. So you would assume that's like peak player base.
Right. Yep.
Especially
so I think
a game like that.
I totally agree with just with what you said, because those were my thoughts too. I think like I'd be curious also if Nikki specifically, if you're listening to this, comment in the podcast. If there's any things that you can imagine that have to do with online that you'd be like, oh, now that specific thing is worth it. Because I also don't play games online barely at all, except for now I'm playing Animal Crossing some online. And like Ashley had to get Nintendo Switch online just to play Animal Crossing online with people. So that's been making it worth it, even just for that. But
Did
otherwise,
you get the family plan?
No, because it was, I already had mine and whatever.
Right,
So I'll probably get the family plan when mine expires.
Yeah.
But whatever. At this point, I just got
because I mean, like at that point, you might as well just like wait for freaking like Mitch's to run out.
Exactly.
And,
yeah.
Like,
so the yeah, I'd be curious if there are any things that would make it feel worth it. Because otherwise, it seems like that's just doesn't even the conversation doesn't necessarily apply to you.
I think if you don't play online, there's
or play the because for me prior to Animal Crossing
and stuff like that,
it's really just like I'm just paying to have the availability of NES and SNES games, even if I don't touch them for months at a time.
I'm pretty counter to what he said about like who even wants to play those games online. Like that online edition is literally the only reason why I was even a little bit interested in NES. Because it's like, oh yeah, I can play this with other people. That's a new experience, you know. And I don't want to emulate it because for one, that's illegal, and for two, it just is not something that I want to do. I don't want to play games on my computer. It's not an experience I'm into. Even if I had a freaking supercomputer, it's just I don't. Right. So yeah, it's like for me personally, the NES and SNES games alone would be worth it, even if I didn't like almost exclusively play online games and stuff like that. I think the cloud saves being tied behind a paywall makes sense. I think that what doesn't make sense is that there's no way to manage your storage.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
I think, so I think pretty much having this, Nikki, having your exact same stance. Some people have this exact same opinion and say it's not worth it for other people. And that I have problems with just because it's like, oh, well, you can't decide what's worth what for anybody. You know, like somebody bought the, PlayStation, the Nintendo PlayStation thing for what, $300,000 or something like that. I would pay 100 because I don't have that much money, that kind of thing, where it's just like value is very subjective, but having this exact perspective for yourself, totally valid. So
yeah. And it's kind of like the Animal Crossing video that I made where it's like, is this game worth it?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, it's like, how is this even a question? It's like, because there's people that aren't like you. It turns out. So like, would it be worth this type of person? Worth it for this type of person?
Yeah.
And for you, no, Switch Online isn't worth it. But again, I don't think that makes it bad, especially for somebody that doesn't play online games and doesn't really like digital games and stuff like that. Like, how do you make a service called Nintendo Switch Online worth it for a gamer like that? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think that they're trying to make it worth it for a gamer like that. Like if Nintendo's talking to somebody that only plays board games, I don't think that they're like bending over backwards to try to get that person to buy their thing. Like I'm sure they want.
if I was like, hey,
as much as humanly possible of whatever they make, but there's limits to that. Like being a brand and like a company and a business or whatever is just as much about who you don't want to appeal to as it is who you do. So like when you have something and you have a target audience, you're going to have a target, like an anti-target audience that you're like, okay, well, as long as we're in good with these people, it doesn't really matter if we're in the doghouse with these people,
Yeah. AJ, I will mow your lawn for $20 and then you tell me that you live in an apartment complex. I'm like, $15.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm $15.
Exactly. I'm like, and then if you walked up to me and was like, freaking, the mowed lawn thing, that would be useful for me. Yes.
Yeah.
But like if in that scenario, if somebody walked up to them and was like, yo, I would give you like $5 to mow your lawn, and I don't have a lawn, it's not worth $5. But to say that it's not worth $5 as a blanket statement, it's like, what? There's people that would freaking kill to only have to pay $5 to get somebody else to mow their lawn,
It's true. I've got $5. If anybody's right around here, go for it.
Go for it.
But yeah, it was an interesting comment. I appreciated that. Just that perspective as well. So continuing on, and these ones are then more on the other side of like ideas for the future of NSO and stuff like that. Some people are more optimistic, some more less. Here's Wyatt Merrill again, who was on your video, and then said the following. Communication is key here. I've been dying for N64 for 3 years now, and I just want to know if and or when it'll come. And then in a separate comment said, when I was a kid, I had an N64, but I didn't ever get very far because I was just a kid. I still have tons of nostalgia though, so I'd kill for N64 on Switch. And I wonder how successful N64 online would be. I know I'd play it way more than NES and SNES.
See, now that is a very interesting prospect because like most multiplayer N64 games, because it's N64 4-player games. So like and then also like I'd assume that like me and Bob would stream like Smash 64 at least once, you know, like that sort of thing. And also like Mario Party and like, you know, Mario Kart, like that's easy like community game sort of stuff. Just because it's 4 players. I think that could be huge for them.
I mean
like honestly single-handedly, like if they launched with N64 instead of NES, which would be very strange, but like if they went straight to N64, they could have easily sold Switch Online to a lot more people, because like it being online is like a much bigger selling point at that point, because it's 4 people.
Right. And I think the other thing too, just like as far as the market of things, I don't know, I feel like N64 is a generation where more people, even though it sold fewer than either of the 2 consoles before it, being the NES and SNES, I feel like more of the NES and SNES gamers have stuck around and continued to be gamers or whatever, maybe just like culturally speaking, as opposed to there's a lot more people I feel like that have very casual memories of N64 where they're like, oh, I guess I played at some friends' houses, I had one.
I thought you were saying like the inverse of that. I was like,
no, I think there's just like a lot more N64 like people that have nostalgic memory for N64.
Yeah, that's like
and haven't even thought about gaming since
that's why
then.
Bob has the N64 plugged up for the babes, man.
Yeah,
that's exactly
that's
why.
True. So yeah, I think that's, you know, it would be a really good marketing thing, you know, just to have that. But I really, man, honestly, the thing that has me most like, and I said it in the video, hesitant to say that N64 becoming this holiday is the Mario remake thing. But then again, Nintendo's weird. They just do stuff like that anyway sometimes. So
true.
Neither of them could happen. Both of them could happen. I wouldn't be particularly surprised one way or another. And
everybody's wrong. Original Xbox games coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
True.
This holiday season.
There it is. So good comment. Fun times. Next comment from 7 says, hey, Parker, hope you, AJ, and everyone in the comments and all your families are doing well and staying safe during these trying times. Thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah. All I want is Earthbound and the original Donkey Kong Country at this point. Lots of people mention Donkey Kong Country and Diddy Kong Racing, I think.
Because it's the anniversary or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Of the second one.
Yep. And also, like, why are they not on there? You know? That's all I'm saying.
It's very strange that Donkey Kong Country specifically is not on there. Earthbound, I could see an argument for them not doing that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like something that they usually just try to eventize. So, but it's on freaking the SNES Classic, so who knows, man?
Yep. So continuing on with the comment, she says, I think Game Boy games would be next for NSO, but I think a lot of people crying when Pokemon isn't included.
But I can see a lot of people.
But thank you. But I can see a lot of people crying when Pokemon isn't included because they won't just give away even 20-year-old games for free. N64 would be cool, but I think those titles remasters / remakes would be better since they haven't really aged well and will be a nightmare unless you play them with huge nostalgia goggles. Yeah. Licensing would also be a mess for something like GoldenEye, which people would also burn Nintendo's offices down for if it is included.
True.
Ideally, I'd also like a free non-legacy game every now and then, like PS Plus and Xbox Live Gold, but that could jack up the price, so I'm not holding my breath. The vouchers and gold points discounts are good alternatives, though.
Yeah, like that would be freaking wild if they were like every month we're giving you a Switch game and it's $20 a year. Like that would be crazy.
Yeah, I mean the thing, I do wonder at some point if they could introduce price tiers, and then that could be something for that. The only thing is, if there's price tiers and that's like a perk that you're paying for, and they don't have good games on that, then that like would suck, because people are like, I paid extra for this and now I'm just
Yeah,
getting
but that
this
happens
game
on those other platforms too. Like,
yeah.
and that's the thing about it that's weird, because it's like, I don't I don't touch my PlayStation or Xbox. I literally play my PlayStation once a year. And that's because sometimes there's a game on there that's like, I'm interested in that. Sometimes there's a Final Fantasy VII remake or whatever that I'll play for. And then at the end of the year, it'd be like, you played your PlayStation for 20 years, 20 hours, 20 hours this year, if that. And then it's like, well, that happened, I guess. And I know exactly what the game is, whereas like other people are like, I played my PlayStation for 700 hours this year or whatever, and it's like, I don't even know what I played because they played so much, and I'm like on the other end of the spectrum there. So like for them to like have a similar thing on Switch, I don't think that's even worth complaining about. But
yeah,
I don't think a lot of stuff people complain about is worth complaining about. So who knows, man?
Yeah.
Not a touch.
But for the small points in here, Game Boy not including Pokemon. Yeah, I agree.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, like it would be cool if they did. It would be a big thing if they did, and that would be neat.
That alone, like we could see them introducing price tiers for that. I could definitely see like an Amazon Prime like Pokemon channel like thing where it's like pay freaking $2 extra a month for access to the Pokemon channel on the Switch Online. So like I could definitely see them.
Would not be surprised. Yeah, and then N64, I think honestly on this we would end up not seeing like super licensed stuff. We would see like, because N64 feels like it has like the top tier kinds of games that are like very popular and are mostly first party games, with some like better licensed ones like GoldenEye or whatever. And then it has a lot of just not good at all games down there. And so I think we'd see these ones like the classic Nintendo ones and the not very good licensed ones. I do hope that we see.
Even then, like a lot of the licensed ones are not good anymore.
I mean, like, or I guess not even licensed, but I don't know, whatever. I feel like there's more middle tier games with comparatively with SNES or some other consoles and stuff, whereas N64 is like kind of all or nothing.
N64 is the NES of 3D. It's the NES of 3D, like we talked about last podcast. That's what it is. Yeah. So like there at the beginning it's going to be freaking hype because you get like Mario and Mario 3 level games in the first month. But then after that it's like I don't know, freaking soccer, dude. You know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. If they put on Extreme G, I'm down, because that's so it's an N64 game that I played a lot and I liked, but at some point it got corrupted to where it wouldn't save anymore. And it's a racing game where you unlock new levels as you beat other ones and stuff. And it got corrupted to the point where it wouldn't save. So if I ever wanted to see the end of it, which I wanted to and was not able to, I got like 3 levels from the end.
The entire game.
Exactly. And it was so bad. Every once in a while it would save and I was like, oh, look at that. But I would have only played like 2 levels the day before or something. And then, so if Extreme G comes on, I'll be a happy clam. It's by Acclaim Games though, and I think they went defunct at some point. So I don't know who owns it now.
They did. And that's the other thing about the N64. I feel like it has in common with the NES. The failure rate on that thing is like up there. You know, like there's. I don't remember having to like do the whole, even though like it doesn't work, but like the whole like blow it in your cartridge. I don't remember doing that much with SNES, but I did it a lot with freaking N64 and NES, both of them. So
I mean, at some point with N64, that was just my gut reaction before putting it in, was just like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, like that's weird because like I don't know, did you had an SNES, right?
Nope.
Oh well.
No, I started N64. I mean, because my parents pretty much avoided video games for me until I got a Game Boy, and then
they're like, the freaking.
They didn't even buy me they didn't buy me the N64. It was a friend of mine, or not, some kid that went to her church. They moved away for a while, so I got to borrow it while they were gone. and then they came back, and then like they never asked for it back or something, and then my parents got me one, I think, and then we gave it back to them, but whatever. So, but that's how that happened. And yeah, my mom didn't love the idea of playing video games because it felt like a waste of time or whatever. And now she's like, look at you go.
Look at you.
Games.
But I don't know, Grimhand or somebody, let me know if that was the case for you. But I don't know, like, I feel like the N64 and the NES specifically were the ones that didn't always work when I put a cartridge in it. Like, so let me know if that was just me.
The last comment from Joe Schmo says, I'd still rather have the virtual console because then I could own games individually without the NSO ever taking them away. Also, I would like the ability to purchase movies/TV individually.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess just instead of like Netflix and stuff like that in real life.
I think that like, I think that's too niche of a like perspective, honestly. Because like, especially like if you look through a lot of the comments and videos like this, everybody's like, even if it's just like in theory, for them, bang for the buck sort of people, you know. So like having to pay $6 to like get an NES game would, like, when presented to them, especially if like freaking all these streaming services are a thing already, like already established and stuff like that, it looks like much worse of a deal. Because like even if you're not going to play this game, you still have access to 19 other games for less of the price than that one game per month, you know. So it's like I just don't know if they would want to do that and like just flat out say, well, here's the NES games that you can play on the streaming service, but they're $6 instead of being bundled in with the other thing you pay $20 a year for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably the main reason why they phased that out, because like not even because of what they're doing specifically, but because of the market, where it's like most people don't think to buy movies or video games like that in one instance. You know, like it feels more worth it to them to buy a bunch of games, even if they're not going to play those other games. It's kind of like what I was talking about with the what is that, Clubhouse games or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to buy Uno, but I'll pay $40 to buy Uno and also freaking War and checkers and chess and like all these other games, right?
And battle tanks.
Exactly.
No, yeah, for sure. I think the power in numbers at that point, where you're like, I'm getting such a great deal for all this stuff, like Humble Bundle. Probably that's a thing too, where like I mean, I haven't ever gotten a Humble Bundle thing because I don't think it's on Switch still, right? In any case, whatever.
No, that's like it's an
event. A Steam only thing?
Sometimes it happens. I think it was only literally one time that they were like, it's Nintendo Humble Bundle, or maybe twice. It might have been twice. Because I know they did it once on Wii U. I don't know if they did it for Switch yet.
But I mean, so with this, I understand definitely the personal perspective of wanting to like, I want to have these games forever, that kind of thing. I don't know what the future's going to hold. I think it's probably a reasonable time to just not worry about it anymore, because it's not going to happen. I think, not, you know, you can still have a preference.
Like, suck it up.
No, yeah, exactly. But like in a, like, it's, you know, if it's not a service for you, that's totally, I mean, like, you know, like Nikki Scott said before, like just not a service for them. So that's very fine. But like at this point, I think the thing is Nintendo can bank on literally a certain amount of people having the Nintendo Switch Online that's recurring revenue, that even if it's less than they theoretically could get from all these people, they're actually getting it now. Like they got online, they got money from Ashley to play online, who only plays Animal Crossing at this point, whereas they would have gotten zero for her from a virtual console kind of thing. But this way it's like kind of, some people are paying for the virtual console games and other people are paying for the online stuff. And so it's kind of just like, you know, throw all the eggs in one basket as opposed to kind of parsing it out that way.
And honestly, I think it's kind of a provision for a lot of people that think they want that, you know, where it's like, I want to just be able to own Super Mario, and then you buy Super Mario and then you play it once and never again. Whereas here,
and then it's like a nuisance when you come to a new console, because like with the Wii U,
because then you have to buy it again.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. And then it's like, in this case, if you just buy all of it wholesale, it doesn't feel as bad to like play Yoshi's Island once and then never play it again. or like
Yeah.
to do what I
Yeah.
did with Super Metroid and be like, see, Max, I played part of it and then never touch it again.
Yeah.
Like if I would have bought that game for that bit, it wouldn't have been as worth as just paying $20 for everything combined.
I mean, and that too, also you get to, they potentially get to get people into some series that they wouldn't otherwise, because like somebody might be like, yeah, I'll give Super Metroid a try, and be like, okay, I actually really like Metroid games, and that can help other ones. Like it's hard. It's probably not going to work super well just because most people aren't going to just go in and try them for the first time. That, you know, like they won't get a ton of people in that way, but at least some.
That rationale only works for like if they launch around the same time.
Yeah,
like
right.
if they're like, okay, if Super Metroid wasn't already on NSO and Metroid Prime 4 or the trilogy was coming out or is already out, and they're like, hey, also check out this, and then it launches that day, then more people are going to be likely to try it. Just like everybody on your friends list is going to be playing the like most current big Nintendo. Like everybody's playing Animal Crossing right now because it's the thing that everybody's playing, right? But that's less likely to happen when it's just like a thing in the list of games that they launched a long time ago, and it kind of pertains to something that they, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I get the idea for sure. And the thing that I said in the video too, and I'm very curious to find out, and we'll just have to wait and see, is what this will look like going into the next generation. Like that, which could be definitely not around the corner, but could be not too far away, or could be really far away depending on what they do. But just what that looks like.
I think it's going to be like midway through like PlayStation 5. Like it's going to be like in their second, third year or something.
Yeah, I would guess something around there too, where like, and for this, I'm thinking probably, like I said in the video, I think will bring it over where it's just the same service on the new one. In the same way that like if you have Apple Arcade and you have an iPhone 8 and then you buy an iPhone 10, you still have the same Apple Arcade that goes across the two. It's just a service, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my thought with that. We'll see. And that's why I think they're going so slowly on all this stuff, because they're like, we're trying to pace it out for the long haul. We want to eventize this way down into the future. But whatever. And we get that because we want to eventize the Q&A section at the end of every single podcast that we do and tell you that here's some questions, you know, and then we'll talk about them.
Also, if you want to be a part of this segment and you're usually not, you either gotta freaking ring that bell. I think the bell tells you when I post community post. I don't know. Or follow us on Twitter, or just leave questions in the comments of...
I don't think the bell tells the community post, just realized, because I do have the bell for fanatixfour and only fanatixfour, because the rest I just follow my sub feed anyway. But I don't get our community posts.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, freaking YouTube community's dope, because I don't see anybody's community post for anything ever. So it's like a lot of people don't even see those. But anyway, just, you know, follow us on Twitter, or if you have any questions that you want us to answer in this segment, leave them in the comments of the video that is here that you're watching.
It's true.
To, whatever.
Yeah, and you can just come back next week and post them, and we'll go back and check. There you go. So question from YouTube community. This one actually is from last week. Peter Parker says, with the news that Animal Crossing New Horizons has beaten Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in sales in Japan in only 3 weeks, do you think it has the potential to become the best-selling Switch title? I'm guessing overall.
Yeah. I think possibly. I'd have to see what the numbers are currently. Like if it was like right now, if it's at like freaking 16 million units or something, then yes, it will, 100%. But if it's at like around like, you know, like 12 million or something, then I don't know, because I think that the peak has already kind of died down, you know?
Yeah.
Where I can't see this game selling like another 5 million right now. Like maybe it'll reach like where Mario Kart 8 is now, like 3 years from now. Because Mario Kart 8 like seems like the type of game that they'll want to discount more often because it's an older game. And not only just like in the
and you need zero research to buy it too. Like you just know like, I like Mario Kart.
It's a Mario Kart.
We're here.
I'm down. Yeah. Whereas here, there's a lot of people that like, freaking Animal Crossing was a huge property before, but it was nowhere near where it's at now, where everybody's playing it. There's a lot of half of the people that are currently playing it didn't know if they wanted to play it before they played it.
Yeah.
Parker's one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that might hinder it from reaching those heights. But because of like where it's at right now, in the grand scheme of things, it's possible. Also, I don't know if Mario Kart 8 is like a good metric in Japan because it's not the best selling game in Japan. It's just the best selling game overall. And Japan's not usually the like deciding factor for like the best selling game on platforms anymore because it's a smaller market.
I'd be tempted to agree in general. I think it will sell really well overall because it has actually, come.
I think it'll definitely be top 3. It's definitely top 3, but I'm not sure if it's number 1 or not.
Yeah. Do you think more than Smash?
Yes, for sure.
So top 2 at that point then?
Yeah. But I think if we're talking lifetime wise, I'm saying top 3 because I think that there's still potential for more.
Oh yeah. I could imagine.
Well, also top Smash, and so.
I mean, and also there's more Switch owners at this point too. So while a lot of people do go back and get the evergreen titles, a lot of people also don't want to do that. Seems like, and just buy the new games.
Yeah, and then there's some evergreen titles that are more specific, like Smash Brothers.
Right.
Where it's like I think Smash Brothers, like it might stay number 2, for the next 2-3 years or whatever, right? And then Animal Crossing eventually beats it out when they do start to like discount it and do that sort of thing. But
I'm checking the list right now just to see the numbers, because I want to remind myself of what they are. Top selling title sales unit. There you go. There was that for everybody. Oh yeah, Smash. I think honestly, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at 22.96. Smash is at 17.68. So it's 5 million units behind. Mario Odyssey is at 16.59, and Breath of the Wild is at 16.34. At this point, like it's kind of a toss up to say. I mean, Smash has all the DLC, so I think it'll keep selling a little bit faster and faster. It'll keep picking up the pace. But
yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them release like Smash Ultimate, where it has all the DLC bundled in it or whatever.
Yeah,
or even just like put Smash Brothers in like Nintendo Select or just regularly discount it. Sooner than they would discount Animal Crossing. So I think I think Smash Brothers all told is probably going to hit like 20 million. I think all told, like discounts accounted for and stuff like that. I think Animal Crossing could be good for like 25, maybe.
I mean, also Pokemon Sword and Shield is at 16.0. So like there's a lot of things, a lot of games that, I mean, then again, Pokemon, I think kind of had a high peak at the beginning and probably less so now.
Well, but I don't know. Pokemon games usually has
the DLC as well.
Like, I can see Pokemon Sword and Shield until the next Pokemon game comes out, selling like another 2 million a year or whatever, right? Because like Pokemon Black and White, and like every Pokemon game, they'll update their title, like their legacy titles or whatever, and it's like, yeah, Pokemon X and Y sold another 1 million copies or whatever. Just because it's a Pokemon game, and there's people that like. Maybe they already had it, and then they're like, "Oh well, crap, I lost that, so I got to buy it again or whatever," So or people that are like, "Oh, I'll start over my save if you buy Pokemon. Let's play an older one," and then they buy that like whatever game. So I think Pokemon Sword and Shield would be good for more boost in that direction. I think the only games, I think Pokemon Sword and Shield is the cutoff for like games where we'll see significant like increases.
I mean, the other thing too with this, and then we could move on to that question, but it's just the bundle deals happening in the future. Like right now, Mario Kart 8 has been pretty much the only like mainline game that's been actually bundled with the console. There's been some times where like, I think Mario
buy a console and get this game for retail price.
I mean, maybe even like Mario Tennis, I think was half off on it. It was like $330 instead of $360 with Mario Tennis or something like that. But not a lot of them or something. But Mario Kart 8's like the only one where it's like just a straight up $300 bundle with the game packed into it. So, depending on what happens, if they do that with Smash or do that with something else, you know, like Breath of the Wild or whatever, then those could get significant bumps as well. So hard to say in the future what happens, but Animal Crossing is selling well. That's for sure. Oh yeah, I didn't even add the article, but the whole thing about how this is the first week in Japan that that the Switch isn't the number one on the top charts because it sold like what 20,000 units or something. But also that's mostly because they stopped shipping units to Japan this week, which was just interesting. So next question from Sam DS, also from YouTube community, says, is buying a Wii U for the virtual console worth it?
If you're Joe Schmo, probably.
Also depends, I guess, the price of the Wii U. You know, if you're buying it used or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, like, the PlayStation, even though, like, people didn't buy it, but, like, the PlayStation Classic or whatever, right? Like, that was around $100. So, if, like, you could find a Wii U for $150 or something like that, it's effectively just that, even though you had to buy the games for it. No, that adds cost to it. But I think that, like, all told, if you can find, like, a Wii U for, like, under $200, like significantly under like $150, I would say is the most that I would pay for something like that, and then like dump another $50 to $75 into like the games that you want on it, like the legacy like virtual console stuff. Decent deal if you ask me.
I mean,
it's
I'm
better
looking
than
up
buying like a GPX whatever, like the emulator boxes for like $300 and then illegally downloading games.
For what it's worth, I mean, I'm looking up on eBay. It looks like there's the Nintendo Wii U Deluxe set, Legend of Zelda, the Wind Waker one is $113 used. So like,
yeah, man,
it looks like there's going to be a lot of cheap Wii U's.
I think it's definitely worth.
Might as well, you know. Yeah, if that's something that's important to you. So good question, Sam. And then moving on, questions from Twitter. We got one from Falcon who says, what's your favorite development studio? What game by them is your favorite? Mine is Paper Mario 64 by Intelligent Systems. Hashtag QA, hashtag melee trash.
Nintendo EPD, I guess. Yeah. And then my favorite game by them is a toss-up. I'd say currently Mario Odyssey. But
more so than Smash?
But that's not Nintendo EPD. That's Sora Limited.
Yeah.
Like Sora Limited is, and also like Bandai Namco, and like it's a freaking group thing. And I couldn't say like Sora Limited because like I like way more games than just Smash, and I don't like Smash that much. Where it's like I would like never play another Nintendo EPD release game or whatever, right? Like, so like I like Smash, but all told, I would say I like Nintendo EPD more than I like Sora Limited, you know? So yeah, I would say them. And then favorite game, like I said, toss up, maybe Splatoon, maybe Mario Odyssey, maybe Breath of the Wild, depends on the day.
Yep. Mine's very easy. It's same answer, but Breath of the Wild. So sorry, it's just the way that it is.
What a nerd, dude.
Yeah. Easy answer that the game that's already my favorite is in the
in
EPD that does all the other ones too, pretty much. So we're good. Oh man. Zeldy at Kumba Koopa says, do you guys agree that Pokemon Sword and Shield was a bit underwhelming? Personally, before release, I chose to ignore all the hate and the whole Pokedex situation and decided to go in with an open mind. Even with that, I still felt like the game was a bit lackluster and underwhelming.
No, I personally didn't feel that way. I was surprised that I ended up liking it as much as I did because I felt like it was going to be too much of what everybody was saying they wanted. Where it's like, oh, it's just Pokemon on console. And I very much so did not want that. I wanted them to like move forward, and they did that. They might have not done it as much as like a lot of people wanted them to, just by virtue of the fact that it's like, oh, it's the first console Pokemon game. So that means it should like completely revolutionize, and it should be like a generational, like, which I mean, and like literally on a technical level, it is a generational leap, multiple generational leaps if you're being honest. Because it went from 240p to 1080p, and that's like, you know, like that's bigger than GameCube, the Xbox 360 or whatever, right? Like significantly, but that's like going original Game Boy to GameCube.
Yeah, right.
So I in that regard, I was like not really disappointed by it. I didn't really care about the whole like National Dex stuff. The story I think was better paced for like how I'd like to play Pokemon games, and it didn't really like get in the way, and it made more sense with the Pokemon world because it's not like in just the world that's in general as a 10-year-old kid being like, you're a 10-year-old kid, here's your first Pokemon, the fate of the world is in your hands.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in a lot of ways the decisions that they made with this game I'd liked more than a lot of what they've done in the past. Like if there's ever been a Pokemon game I was like disappointed by, it would probably be like freaking Gen 4, like Diamond and Pearl. And even that I like fine.
I think for me, I'm probably more in Zelda's camp. Just in the sense, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, but probably Zelda or somebody who like, because AJ, you said before that like you play obviously the story and all that stuff, but then also a lot of it is so that you can do the end game playing with other people, trading and like the building teams and that kind of stuff as well. And that's like a part of the experience. Whereas for me, that's never been the part of the experience. It's, you know, it is just the playing the game part of it. And then the rest of it seems like extra. So I don't think for me, I'm seeing it as like Game Freak and the Pokemon Company and stuff have the task of building one game that's built for like easily 3 different audiences, which are kids that are going to do whatever kids are going to do, adults that are going to play mostly for the story, adults that are going to play mostly for the post game, and then other people, I don't know, you know, other categories of people, which is a challenging thing to do.
But I think that just how this question reads to me, it seems more like, because like the adults that play a game mostly for the story, I think we're already expecting too much because Pokemon games have never really been that. Where it's like a game that you can play just for the story. Even if you don't battle, the story has never been substantial enough to satiate a gamer like that. Like like if all you do is play through Pokemon Yellow story, you're going to put 20 hours into that game, and that's it. And that's like accounting for all the antiquated stuff where it's like you can't really speed through dialogue, and you can't do like a lot of stuff that you can do. So like if you're playing this game normally and like you're beelining for just story stuff, you're not catching every Pokemon, you have to put like what would you say, like 25, 30 hours in this game?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, something like
that. And it cuts a lot of that other stuff in half. So Pokemon Yellow, if every other Pokemon game cut all that stuff out, it would be shorter and less substantial than what Sword and Shield is. And that's not to say that I think that Pokemon Sword and Shield, like I'm not saying that you're wrong in your perspective. I agree that it doesn't have enough to be like a single player game, but I think Pokemon has never had enough to be a single player game.
Yeah, I think the question with the word underwhelming is compared to what I want it to be, or like compared what it used to be, which is like it's still more than it used to be. So, you know, what I'd like it to be would be more than that. But like I wasn't mad at it for those reasons because I'm aware of all that kind of stuff. It's like it's being exactly what it is. It would be cool if it were able to focus more in on this, but like with the 3-year development cycle or whatever, having to cater to multiple different audiences, lots of people, if the like main single player experience of the main part of the game was more robust, then the people trying to play the post game would be frustrated with it. Like, come on, like pick up the pace, let's get to the end or whatever.
I think it really just depends on,
and like kids would be annoyed because like
I just think it depends on what their goals are going into the game, because obviously if the reason why I don't care about the story in Pokemon is because Game Freak doesn't care, you know, and they never have. So that's why it's a thing of like, well, the story doesn't matter because they don't develop it for the story. But like the people like me that mostly play Pokemon for everything else around the story, like the world, and like and then after the fact, the battling and stuff like that, they would care more about the story if it was about that, but it never has been. So like it really just depends on if Zelda is a Pokemon fan, or if they just saw like, oh, Pokemon's a big property, I never played one of those before and I want to play an RPG. That would be a different case.
If you're comparing it to like a Xenoblade or something like that, because like some of the marketing material definitely wants to, I mean, some of the grand shots of the, you know, the wild area or whatever feel like it would want to poise it as a Xenoblade, a Final Fantasy 12, whatever.
I don't even know if the marketing, like at least
I don't
verbally,
think overall,
like
no.
at least verbally, they very much so worded as like this is the biggest Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And not so much as like you played Breath of the Wild, now play this, you know, like.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think, like you said, it's a question of what you're a fan of and what you're expecting. So I don't know. I am curious. Yeah, Zelda, let us know if you're listening to this in the comments. If you
were you a Pokemon?
Is this your first Pokemon
this?
game? Yes, exactly. Or are you an RPG fan that's going into it, or something different?
Yeah, because that makes complete sense to me. And that's why, like, I made the freaking Dragon Quest video of like stuff that Dragon Quest does that Pokemon doesn't do and probably should. But like in terms of like Pokemon game to Pokemon game, it's a huge leap. It's a huge leap from Pokemon Ultra Sun to Sword and Shield.
Yep. And there it is. So good question for sure. And then last up, we got questions from Discord. First up, did you add this one like last minute?
Yes, because that was from last week. And I was like, oh, he didn't grab this. And
I sure didn't. Thank you, AJ. Maglore last week asked, choose your favorite Nintendo game. Now you have to change 5 specific things about it. Say things like remove this item or add this power up or change this level design.
Okay, so Smash Bros. Ultimate. Wait, you said...
I said Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I heard what you said.
Gotcha.
I was trying to see what my...
So change 5 things.
So I'm going to limit myself because it would be very easy to be like, take this character out of the game and take this character out of the game. So I'm going to limit it. I'm going to say, which character do I hate the most? And I think it is interactive and uninteresting. Take Ganondorf out of the game. Take him out of the game because I feel like he's the most like scrubby character. He's not the hardest character to fight, but the most scrubs gravitate towards him. So take him out, or at least redesign him. Remove this item. What item would I take out? I don't use items, so that's hard. Take out the scythe. The scythe seems stupid. I don't even know. Like, it's not really like a Nintendo specific thing that I would think, oh, this is from this Nintendo property. Add this power up. Add like an arm. Like add that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Change this level design. Change the freaking Great Plateau. That level's stupid and I hate it.
Is it the ceilings that you don't like?
Yeah, the ceilings are dumb. It's stupid, and I hate it.
Also, it feels like they just in general could have done maybe more with the Breath of the Wild stage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. And I guess, speaking of that, I'll keep going and like, I don't want to like double up and say, take out this character out too. I want them to like redesign Link to make him more in line with Breath of the Wild Link. I think it's dumb that like they took away the tether recovery, but they didn't give him his glider. That's stupid. Like, give him the glider, man.
It seems like they wanted to mostly leave him balanced like for Link mains, keep him mostly like Link, but like they also could have done just like left in regular Link and added in champion Link and have him be really different if they really wanted to.
They effectively did that because young Link is just regular Link, but small.
Yeah. Yes.
Like he plays exactly like regular Link always has. And he's fast. So he's better regular Link. And then they have Toon Link, who's worse regular Link.
Yeah. That's true.
So if they could, like, if they really wanted to go, and they kind of did, like the remote bombs, I think completely changes the play style of a good traditional Link. So yeah, make him more like Breath of the Wild Link, and then I don't know, what would be the last thing that I would do?
A mode you want to add it or something? I don't know.
Oh no, the freaking fix online, make it not bad. That's the last thing.
Good last thing. And well, on the Link line, mine, Breath of the Wild. I mean, some of these have already been said by other people, so I'm going with some easy ones because stuff. Crafting, something with crafting. Like, it was neat to be able to make a lot of dishes and stuff like that. I enjoyed that aspect of it, but I liked the breakable weapons in the end, except for the mental thing of like, I didn't use some of my I used some of the best ones every once in a while, but didn't use like any of the kind of best ones or what. Like I'd save weapons. It was, you know, even though I had plenty of them. So, but that's whatever. But I think,
I
yeah,
didn't really
adding.
I really like this kind of caveat. I really like the breakable weapons because I didn't prioritize at all. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to save this really good weapon. I would just use whatever I had, and when it broke, that was part of it. It was like, okay, how am I going to beat this guy with a freaking Boku club? And that's it.
Oh man, I did at one point. I was going back. Yeah, I started a new save file and tried to beat a red Lionel with like as soon as I possibly could with like no weapon, with like barely any weapons, and I used all of my weapons up and had like no health or anything because I was trying to do that whole thing. But they all broke by the time, and he still had the health left. I was like, well, guess I'm not doing that.
It's like, it changes what it is. It's not like a traditional Zelda game. It's like a survival game.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good old time. But yeah, so I think crafting things, and especially within the,
I think crafting's a good addition because it like completes
the elixirs and the potions and stuff like that. I just use meals all the time.
Yeah,
so doing something different with the potions and the monster parts and stuff like that would be cool. I don't know what it would be necessarily.
So that's change number 2, or is that?
Yeah, might as well change number 2. Change number 3. Yeah, man. You know, just do it. You know, here it is. That's all. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of other stuff.
Freaking add multiplayer.
Yes,
multiplayer would be dope.
Yeah, that's not even a change though. That's more of a. But
it is a change. That's a change.
Dungeons. There you go. That's not like leave everything what it is, but the divine beasts make them
dungeons
better and like bigger and actual dungeony kinds of things. I think I love that it has the physics engine throughout the whole game, but within the dungeons kind of thing, having that be the way to solve some things does make it a little too simplifies some of it as well. So I'll say dungeons, but then also within that, the way that they even did the couple sort of dungeons that were there felt less creative in some ways, because it was like, not here's all the various ways you can use this one item. It was like, it's like, figure out one of the 12 ways that you can solve this puzzle, which is really fun in the overworld, but in a dungeon, I think
what they could do, like for dungeons and still be a Breath of the Wild situation, is if they use the chemistry engine more often, because then it could still be elemental and be like, okay, how am I going to solve this? And it's like, well, ice beats this, like that's what.
Yeah, right. I think I would definitely agree with that, just because I think for puzzles, there needs to not be, like for exploration, there needs to be a lot of solutions. And for puzzles, there kind of needs to be few solutions, like maybe more than one.
I think puzzles can have multiple solutions.
I think they can have multiple solutions.
Like that. Like if you're an explorer or whatever, if you're freaking Indiana Jones, there's not one answer for how to get away from the boulder, But
I think it's when, like, something at least about the feel of the way the solutions were in the game so far, if
the answer's always using physics differently, I think that's less interesting.
Yeah, right.
So like that's kind of the way that played out, where it's like you did it differently than I did, but you had the same like ultimate solution, where it's like you use the physics engine to your advantage. But if you could use the chemistry engine to your advantage, or just something more straightforward, where it's like, oh, I convinced the freaking bad guy to help me or something.
I mean, I like the idea of being stumped every once in a while too, like, and that so far, or not so far, but in the dungeons, that never really was a thing. It was mostly like, oh, that's a thing, okay, just do that first, cool. But it's nice to have to overcome stuff, which was the case in a lot of other areas. But so dungeons, those I don't know. And then a fifth one, maybe more stuff. I enjoyed upgrading all of the armor, just because it was something fun to do, but something more could have been done with that. I don't remember.
That could be another part of the dungeons, honestly.
Yeah.
Where it's like, use the armor upgrade as something that you need to get through certain parts of the dungeon. But again, I think that takes away from Breath of the Wild. So make the dungeons more developed, where it's like there's different nooks and crannies of it, where it's like, this part of the dungeon
It's
has
Animal Crossing now.
but yeah, it's like this part of the dungeon has a waterfall, so you can use the Zora armor to swim up the waterfall. But there's also a part of the dungeon that you don't need to find that very specific thing. So like, there's still
underwater swimming. That's changed number 5 or 6 or whatever. Have underwater stuff, because that was like awesome in some of the other games, like Twilight Princess. I remember finding Lake Hylia or whatever and having to go in there was a grand old time. But not being able to do that Breath of the Wild is like, come on, man.
But yeah, I think that the thing that would make, for me, just generally, I think a lot of people, what they want from Breath of the Wild, they try to like limit it, and I think that's less interesting. Like, there's ways to like do puzzles and have it be something that's like, what do I do here? And then not always have the same answer. Like, only having one answer only arbitrarily confuses you. Where it's like, I mean, this is a more like grim like example, but it's the first thing that came to mind. As somebody's like, man, how am I going to freaking pay rent this month? There's not one answer to that. But it's still like a problem that needs to be solved that doesn't have a very, very obvious answer. That's like, well, obviously you do this.
I mean, like, I think game-wise too, Baba Is You is probably a good example of that. Like, I need to actually get it and play it, because I've only seen footage of it, and it's interesting and fun stuff, sounds like. But the fact that a lot of those, it sounds like you get to change the rules of the world to make things be what you want them to be. But sometimes it's hard to figure out. There's so many elements going on to figure out what the various combinations could be, that like, you got to figure that out. So. So like, it's kind of like, to bring it a little bit back to Smash Brothers and fighting games in general, what players usually want is for them to buff everything rather than to nerf things. Like, that's the more interesting thing. Make everything better instead of making things worse to funnel you into this one solution. That's true. So yeah, there's that stuff. Good thoughts. One of these days, when it makes sense, maybe we'll make a video on those kinds of things and talk about them better and more. But right now, I don't know that anybody would go out of their way to watch Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Maybe. Breath of the Wild 2 is one of the other games that we know exists.
Yep. That stuff. Duncan says, yo, my dudes. He did it. He said the thing. That was the thing. Look at you. What a professional. Hope y'all have a great weekend and are doing well. With Nintendo's success getting into the mobile market, what's one game franchise you think that a different company could bring over to mobile that you'd actually be interested in playing? I think a mobile Halo Wars style RTS could work pretty well, or a Sony All-Stars card game a la Hearthstone. Granted, I'd rather see something like that come out of Nintendo. Tie in some real-world amiibo cards to get those cards in game, since most phones these days have NFC. Really? I didn't know that. Slap it on the Switch too. You're welcome for the new money printer. I'll be looking for my royalty checks.
I think there's a lot of games that they could do that with. Like, I was talking to Mega Man yesterday. I was playing Smash Bros. With him. You can become a supporter, and also, say, yo, AJ, you trying to play Smash Brothers? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down, man. There it is. But yeah, we were talking about freaking Mega Man, the Battle Network games. Put a Battle Network game on mobile. I'm down.
Yeah.
That's something that could work on mobile. I think regular Mega Man would be like weird on mobile, or maybe it's already on there, and I assume it's weird. But Battle Network, I think, will work well on mobile.
I mean, the interesting thing with mobile is it's so often we'll see, like, I'll play mobile games or whatever and get ads for like a Final Fantasy 15 mobile, and it's not the like pocket version. It's like
it's like a tower control sort of thing.
Right, exactly, where it's like, obviously they were like, here's the IP, just do your game with this IP, and people will get it because it's that IP, and it's like, that's dumb. I don't like that.
And
but
also, like,
going like with the actual franchise of some sort is, and like doing things that it's like, here's like a Lara Croft Will tweeted it out, and I was like, I'll download and play it. They made a Lara Croft Go game or whatever, and it's like essentially a puzzle game with Lara Croft going through some things, and it's fun, it's good, and it doesn't feel like a ripoff.
Tomb Raider game.
It's not a Tomb Raider game, but like it makes sense within the universe of raiding tombs and stuff, you know.
Right. Another game, even though this isn't another property.
What if you made Tomb Raider and it's Rater and it's
Oh
just
my
like going around
God.
different tombs? We're like, yeah, easy S.
This is an S tier tomb, dude. But this was the first thing that I thought of, but it's not another company, so I didn't put it as my answer. But I'm still going to present it anyway. But literally, put freaking WarioWare. Put a WarioWare game on.
Oh yeah.
Because duh, like the mobile market was literally created by freaking WarioWare, because everybody's like, oh, I like that WarioWare mini game, I'm going to turn that into a mobile game. It happens so much. So just put WarioWare on mobile and kill every mobile game.
True. Also, a Pikmin clicker game, like an idle clicker game with Pikmin, where easiest to sell.
Freaking gross into a monster, man.
So I'm actually thinking more like, because you know how like Cookie Clicker or whatever, it's you know, that kind of thing. You're clicking stuff, and then the things get like more and more and more and bigger or whatever. I think you would just have more Pikmin, and the items that they're destroying. It's like the walls that you break down in Pikmin. Where like at first, like every time you click is one Pikmin hitting a, you know, a leaf or whatever.
Right.
But over time, you're breaking down
galaxies, diamond wall, and then you're like breaking down the sun.
That's the one. So I think that's my idea. It is Nintendo though, so sorry about that. Good question. Last up, Mega Man. Speaking of Mega Man, a Fanatics Foods question, as it were. Italian or Chinese food?
Italian.
Yeah.
Did we? I think
we've answered this one before, maybe.
I don't know if we answered specifically
maybe not.
This comparison, but it was like, what if you could only eat one category of food, what would it be? And I think that's what we said. Yeah. Because I feel like I really only get like 2 or 3 things when I get Chinese food. It's like either orange chicken or General's chicken, and that's kind of the same thing. Like they kind of taste the same, more or less.
Red orange chicken,
yeah,
with some extra things in there.
But Italian food it's more versatile than that. Not really by much, as far as like a lot of the Italian food that I get, because it's like sauce and then cheese and then pasta, or like the chicken, or you know, pizza or something like that. But it's slightly more versatile than what I get at Chinese restaurants.
And it's just easy. Like it feels like there's always something that could fit. I'm not always feeling like Chinese food, but I'm always feeling like some kind of Italian food. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I'm a sucker for just spaghetti, just regular old pasta and red sauce, you know?
Yeah. That people in New Jersey were like, that's gravy. I'm like, you're stupid. It's not gravy. Gravy's brown or white and chunky and gross looking.
I don't think I've ever actually tried like sausage gravy, like the white breakfast kind.
It looks gross. I never tried either.
That's exactly where I'm at. Like,
oh, it's just because it looks gross that you're like, no? Yeah.
I'll try lots of gross foods if it's like a cultural experience, but for some reason, American culture doesn't count for me. So like, there's lots of like, if someone's like, here, try some pork rinds, I'm like, nope, those look kind of disgusting. I'm just not going to bother. So, I mean, then again, if somebody really tried to make me try some, then I would just try some, but nobody has. So here we are. But we may not make you try pork rinds, but we will try to make you have a happy day.
I want to talk about one more thing. I want to talk about the me at 20 stuff.
Oh.
I thought that was funny. Because funny. I literally so let's show yours. Are you prepared?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hang on. Let me pull up Twitter. Let me just find both of ours real quick. Vamp, say some words about things.
So I'll talk about the background for this. So like I saw people doing it and I was like, I'll do that again. No, at first when I saw people doing it, I thought exactly what everybody's saying, where it's like, it's not even worth doing because I look the same. And it's not even a thing of like, I'm that young. It was 6 years ago that I was 20. That's a long time. But I still looked exactly the same. So it was like not even worth. And then I went on Facebook and I was like looking through and I was like, that's the only way I knew that I was like, oh, I was 20 in this picture. Because like even my niece doesn't look that different, and she was like 3, and she's 9 now.
Yep.
So it's like that is freaking wild.
All right, sharing screen. Here we go.
There it is.
There's you.
There's me at 20.
Yeah, I mean honestly, you look exactly the same.
I look the same, and it's like, the only reason why I knew is because the.
How old's your niece here?
She was 3.
Okay, so now she's 9. I guess.
Now she's 9.
Yep. Here's
And you're just like a different person.
That one also like here we go. That's
that
probably,
one looks more like you. Like that,
yeah.
that's like, yeah, that looks like you.
There we go.
And that one also looks like you.
Yeah. I mean, this one mostly just looks, I mean, the angle and
yeah,
stuff
it's like
is
you just
funny,
look like a different guy.
Yeah. I was gonna at first just post this one, but I was like, that doesn't even look like
that
anything.
one's kind of, yeah, that one's kind of doesn't look like you either, but that's mostly like a hair situation.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then this is Ashley's favorite picture of me, so there you go. I don't know, I think she just thinks it's funny, so there you go. But there's her boy.
There it is.
That's Edge.
You changed the most.
True. I mean, I probably was.
I mean, it was slightly longer for you, but
that's
not
true.
That much longer.
No,
so,
not that much. So, I don't know. It is funny looking at my like high school picture or something where I'm like, I honestly look very much the same, just little.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the case. See, that's the thing though. Like, there's only been like 2 years, not even like a year and a half of my life where it's like, oh, that's a different person. Like, and I was like 1. Because like I freaking fluctuate, like I was like real chubby at one point, and it just it just got to a point where it's like, oh no, just like that looks like me now. Like, but some pictures like I'll probably like if I freaking think of doing it, I'll post a picture where it's like this was the only time in my life where I didn't just look like me.
I mean, I think the beard for me is a thing too, where like not having a beard looks different, but also like I definitely
like you've done videos without your beard.
Yeah, and I don't like it's partly just because I weigh a decent amount more now than I did then. Like I was quite skinny then, and now I'm just not. I'm normal now, I guess. I don't know. But so that's the thing where like I look different for those reasons, but here we are.
There we are. What did you look like at 20? Are you 20 yet? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments.
Also, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, which I assume you did after watching the whole thing, it's a long thing. I don't know how long it is actually, because
easily 2.5 at this point.
But anyway, you know, freaking leave a comment, review on podcast services. If you got iTunes, even if you don't listen on iTunes, maybe rate and review on iTunes or other services that allow you to do it. Let us know what you want us to talk about on the podcast. Leave us questions and stuff, because like who knows if there's going to be news. This week there was a lot of news, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, I was surprised because it all kind of came out of nowhere, I felt like too.
Yeah, but there it is. That was the episode. Thanks for listening again. See ya next week, man.
Peace and blessings.
Or lady or woman or girl or other, you know. Goodbye.